Chapter 2265. This is a little unscrupulous, Heavenly Astral Monarch muttered. Senior Heavenly Astral Monarch, I don't think so. War is only about victory and defeat. If we lose, the 100 races in the celestial realm will be in a terrible situation. The people of the 9 regions world have a way out, but the 100 races in the celestial realm don't, Jun Xuanji said. Xuanji, don't say that. We are now on the same side. Night Sorrow waved his hand and stopped Jun Xuanji. It wasn't appropriate to be too aggressive at this time. War is only about victory and defeat. Heavenly Astral Monarch, we can't stick to the rules now. The cultivators of the ancient world are not polite to us. They will kill us directly when they see us, the Golden Dragon King said. This is a backup plan. Think of something else, Night Sorrow said. He wouldn't use this method unless he had no other choice. Next, Heavenly Concubine suggested a formation battle. They would set up a large array and use the trap and kill tactic. It's a big project to set up an array that can trap and affect Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. But with the combination of a bait tactic, the formation battle will be effective. I will arrange this immediately. Use all the effective tactics. Sister Xian, arrange for an array master to come over, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She was following the team because she represented the full cooperation of the elders. Okay, bring the array master of our Ice Phoenix race. Since we are going to play, let's play big. Heavenly Astral Monarch also expressed his support. The Golden Dragon King also nodded. The Golden Dragon race didn't have many people, but the Black Dragons and Azure Dragons were still very strong. After asking everyone to continue thinking, Night Sorrow left the tent to find a suitable place to set up a large array. The power of a top-grade array couldn't be ignored no matter what realm the cultivator was in. Why didn't the Demon Imperial City break? One reason was because the head of the Demon Winged Race's ancestor was overbearing. The other reason was that it complemented the array. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade materials. The base of the array used Monarch Spirit Stone, the important places used Emperor Spirit Stone, and the core directly used the crystal core of the Black Horn Dragon. Unparalleled Great Array. This time, Night Sorrow wanted to set up an unparalleled great array. Heavenly Concubine arrived by Night Sorrow's side. The other party has 2 God Soul Unity Realm experts. If this array can trap one of them for a period of time, the 2 of us can work together to kill the other. The scales of victory will tip towards our side. I used the highest grade materials I have, so it should work. From the bottom of my heart, I don't want to use poison. If I use poison without saying anything after entering their city, then I'll be no different from them. Self-preservation is just a pretentious reason, Night Sorrow said. You still have your own perseverance. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. Let's wait until the formation is set up. With the formation as our foundation, we can go and test the other party's attitude. If the other party is not aggressive and does not pursue us, then there is no need to continue this battle. If they pursue us relentlessly, then I'm sorry, Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine did not say anything. She knew that no matter how bad the situation was, Night Sorrow's bottom line was still there. He had his own considerations for some things and would not change because of external factors. Night Sorrow set up the array while the others cultivated and thought of ideas. The Heavenly Concubine and Jun Xuanji did not have much interaction and only nodded to each other when they met. When setting up the array, Night Sorrow thought about it carefully. He did not dare to make any mistakes. An array that could trap God's Soul Unity Realm cultivators was not easy to set up. It was related to space-time, life and death, void, destruction, and so on. It also involved support and cooperation. There could not be any conflicts. While setting up the array, Night Sorrow's array Dao cultivation increased again. Even the areas that were not smooth in his cultivation were resolved. Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to set up the array. However, he placed great importance on its scale and power. Time slipped away as Night Sorrow set up the array. On the other hand, the Heavenly Concubine, Lin Piaomiao, the Golden Dragon King, the Heavenly Astral King, and Jun Xuanji were all studying the battle plan. 3 years. Night Sorrow led the array masters from the celestial realm to set up and perfect the array. They used a total of 3 years. My assets. 2/3 of my assets are in this array. Looking at the area where the array was, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. Once it's used up, you can just dismantle it. The heavenly concubine said with a smile. That's true. Everyone and I used 3 years to set up this array. If we dismantle it, it will probably take less than 30 days. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow brought everyone back to the tent. How's the battle plan coming along? During these 3 years, Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating and his clone was studying the array. He did not really care about the battle plan or the arrangement of personnel. Lord Heavenly Concubine, you thought the most about the plan this time. You should tell the young city lord. The Golden Dragon King nodded at the Heavenly Concubine. This is everyone's idea. I can say a few words. Night Sorrow, there are some things that you don't want to do. We can't let you do it either. Our plan is to use peaceful means before using force. Let's see their attitude first. If they don't plan to fight, then your hard work will be in vain. The Heavenly Concubine said, Don't worry. If they don't fight, I'm willing to waste these 3 years. Night Sorrow smiled. He did not waste these 3 years at all. His main body had been cultivating all this time. In the 3 years in the real world, Night Sorrow's main body had cultivated for 150 years. His body's cultivation was not far from the peak of the 6th Emperor Tribulation. His realm had also improved a little, but it was not as obvious as his body's improvement. In addition, his 1,000 Realms defense body had also cultivated a world. He had reached the level where he could create a world with a thought. Faster attack. Of course, other than Night Sorrow himself, no one knew about these achievements because he had not fought in these 3 years. Let's talk about the plan. There are a few steps to the plan. The first step is to lure them in. We will talk to them first. If we can't negotiate, they will definitely fight. At that time, we will retreat and they will definitely chase. I specialize in speed, so we will lure them in. The 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators can't have the same speed. As long as their speeds are different, we will have an opportunity to use the array to attack them one by one. The Heavenly Concubine said, There is no problem with the general direction. Have you thought about the details? Night Sorrow turned to the group and asked. Yes, we have thought about it carefully. For every mistake, there will be a plan to fix it. This is already written down. Jun Xuanji took out a book and handed it to Night Sorrow. After looking at it, Night Sorrow nodded. The plan is good. Everyone has worked hard. Prepare a banquet and reward the array masters. After that, send them back. They can't have any accidents. Okay. Lin Piaomiao nodded. After 3 years of preparation, it's finally time to test the results. Heavenly Concubine, I will have to trouble you this time. Night Sorrow looked at the Heavenly Concubine and said, This was because the Heavenly Concubine and him were the main people in the plan. Chapter 2266. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, okay, let's work together. There's nothing we can't do. I'll look into this plan. If there are no problems, we'll carry it out later, Night Sorrow decided. After returning to the tent, Night Sorrow studied the plan. The plan was very detailed. There were detailed records of luring and fighting. After looking at it, Night Sorrow felt that the plan was feasible. The Heavenly Concubine, Jun Xuanji, and Lin Piaomiao all knew his fighting style and specialty. The battle plan was very suitable for his style. How do you feel? The Heavenly Concubine entered Night Sorrow's tent. Very good. Actually, I feel that if the luring fails, there's no need to dodge. We can do it a second time. We can use killing to lure them, Night Sorrow said. Killing to lure them? The Heavenly Concubine was stunned. Yes, a combination of assassination and luring. After the 2 sides meet and negotiate, let's not talk about fighting. If we fight, the first time we lure them out, we'll follow the plan and use the formation to surround them. If we fail, it's not a bad thing. I'm good with space-time attributes and can sneak up on one of them. It'll be good if we can heavily injure the target, but if we can't, we'll retreat. Will they chase us? If they chase us, we'll lure them out. If they don't chase us, that's fine too. We'll just sneak up on them. This is much better than luring them out, Night Sorrow said as he closed the document. Hitting the nail on the head. This is the most important part of the plan, the heavenly concubine said. After that, Night Sorrow gathered the core of the team and told them the battle plan. Then, they started the first step of the battle plan, Hidden Dragon. Hidden Dragon was to hide the team in the illusion formation of the unparalleled formation. This way, the people of the ancient world group wouldn't be able to find them and would come out to fight when needed. After the team was hidden, Night Sorrow considered the issue of safety and set up a teleportation formation in the illusion formation. This meant that even if the unparalleled formation was surrounded, they could teleport out if they wanted to retreat. After setting up the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow brought the Golden Dragon King, Heavenly Astral King, Lin Piaomiao, Long Jin, and Lin Chuan to familiarize themselves with the formation. This way, they could control the formation even if he wasn't around. After the arrangements, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. When I'm not around, Elder Lin, Golden Dragon King, and Heavenly Astral King are in charge. Elder Lin, Golden Dragon, and Heavenly Astral King. The Golden Dragon King and Senior Heavenly Astral King. Everyone bowed and accepted the order. Everyone knew that in Yi Chang's heart, war was war. The members of the team didn't care if they were close or distant. Even brothers had to follow orders without any objections. After translation is Lin. Translation is translation is translation. Heavenly concubine, if you can't do it, you have to take me and run. Yi Shang handed the clear sky pagoda to the heavenly concubine as he spoke. The heavenly concubine took the clear sky pagoda and placed it in her robes. Don't worry, I won't leave you behind. Actually, whether or not we can coexist peacefully, we'll know as we get closer. If there's no possibility of negotiation, they'll directly attack. That is to say, if they come out to kill us, there is no possibility of peace. If we reach the city and they don't come to kill us, we can negotiate. Night Sorrow analyzed. It's like this. From their attitude, we can infer their decision. Actually, the chances of negotiation are very low. We all know this, but we have to do this. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, Yes, it's almost impossible. But we have to give the other party and ourselves a chance. We can't go too far. Night Sorrow nodded. They didn't plan to fight directly, nor did they use poison. It was all Night Sorrow's idea. He didn't want his subordinates to become invaders with no bottom line. He also didn't want his subordinates to develop such a habit. Because of safety considerations, the campsite Night Sorrow chose was still very far from the city. So, Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow traveled for a day and a half before reaching the other party's area. This distance was also suitable for luring them. Flying at full speed for half a day was just right. As they got closer, cultivators appeared one after another. Because Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine both hid their cultivation, the cultivators of the ancient world group couldn't see through them. They didn't sense any danger and directly charged forward to kill. The result was inevitable. They're all a bunch of murderous bastards. They can't sense our cultivation, but they can sense that our life source is different. Refining our divine nascent pearls will increase their essence, so they definitely won't hold back. Heavenly Concubine said. Then there's no other way. We can only kill our way through. We'll talk when we get there. Night Sorrow shook his head. This situation was also within his expectations. The battle continued. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine wanted to take a look around the city. They wanted to see what kind of attitude the ruler of this city had. When they were still some distance away from the city, a long howl was heard. Following that, two figures led a group of people and charged towards Night Sorrow. Sirs, can we have a chat? The Heavenly Concubine spoke when the other party was still in attack range, conveying her wish. Cultivators from different realms. This is a good thing. Flying not far from Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow, the middle-aged man in the lead laughed loudly. There's no need to kill on sight. We can talk about anything. Heavenly Concubine expressed her intention to talk again. Which realm are you from? Do you have a map? Hand over the map and you can become a member of our Fire King City. You're at the Divine Soul Unity realm and can become an elder. Forget about him. He's pretty good. He's a good resource. The man in the lead, the Fire King City Lord, said. You want the map? You want to kill and plunder our world? Do you think we'll hand it over? Heavenly Concubine's face turned cold. The Fire King City Lord didn't have the sincerity to talk. His goal was to kill and plunder. He didn't even give Night Sorrow a chance to live. This made her very angry. Not handing it over? The City Lord is giving you a chance to live. Don't you want it? In that case, both of you will die. Another Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator said. Giving me a chance to live? What shameless boasting. Who do you think you are? Heavenly Concubine laughed when she saw that there was no possibility of negotiation. The other party was too arrogant. I'm Fire King City's Vice City Lord, Geely. You're courting death. Geely was furious. He held his weapon in his hand and looked at the Fire King City Lord at the same time. The life origin aura on their bodies is very dense. You and I will take one each. The Fire King City Lord spoke. Heavenly Concubine, let's go. Seeing that there was no possibility of negotiation, Night Sorrow nodded at Heavenly Concubine. Since we can't talk, then forget it. Heavenly Concubine smiled and pulled Night Sorrow, who was beside her. She then retreated and kept Night Sorrow into the clear sky pagoda. Chapter 2267. Kill. With a long roar, the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao led their men to chase after the Heavenly Concubine. The Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao were Divine Soul Uniting Realm cultivators of the Tribulation of the Nine Emperors. They had 3 subordinates of the same level behind them. With the Fire King City Lord's order, they all moved. They were very excited. The Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow represented fat meat. A new realm had appeared and could provide a lot of resources. It would not be a problem for them to cultivate to the Divine Soul Uniting Realm. The Heavenly Concubine was good at speed. Her body flashed, leaving the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao behind. Normally, the City Lord is the strongest, but Extreme Liao's speed is faster than the Fire King City Lord's. The Heavenly Concubine flew while communicating with Night Sorrow in the clear sky pagoda. The City Lord's combat power should be the strongest. Extreme Liao is faster than the Fire King City Lord, but his combat power is definitely weaker. Let's lure him and play slowly. Be careful to keep a safe distance. Night Sorrow reminded the Heavenly Concubine because the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao had attacked. Sabers flew towards the Heavenly Concubine. The Heavenly Concubine flew in a curve and dodged the sabers. Then she used her precept domain to increase her speed. Their speed is really fast. Their attack power is also high. The Heavenly Concubine made a preliminary evaluation of the Fire King City Lord's Extreme Liao. The ancient world's cultivators have a long history. They have more combat techniques and absolute arts than us, so their combat power is stronger. Let's increase the distance and let them use their highest speed, Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine replied to Night Sorrow and increased her speed again. She was from the Demon Wing Clan. The members of the Demon Wing Clan had strong bodies and a pair of flesh wings. They were best at speed. The Heavenly Concubine did not usually use her wings, but they had always been there and had been turned into energy. At that moment, a pair of transparent wings appeared on her back, causing her speed to increase again. Don't worry. I'm not afraid of them in terms of speed. The Heavenly Concubine communicated with Night Sorrow. She knew that Night Sorrow was very nervous and worried about her safety. Your wings are really beautiful. Night Sorrow sighed. The Heavenly Concubine's wings were different from the flesh wings of the other Demon Wing Clan members. They did not look ugly. Instead, they were full of beauty and holy aura. Of course, these are the Holy Spirit wings. Heavenly Concubine explained to Night Sorrow. She then told him about the Holy Spirit wing situation. Even though the situation was dire, Heavenly Concubine was still in control. She knew that the other party would not be able to catch up. The three grand heavens of the Demon Wing clan had the qualifications to collect the power of faith. With the power of faith, the three of them had different uses. Mo Zhangtian used the power of faith to enhance his soul, Mo Yutian used it to strengthen his body, and Mo Tianji used it to cultivate the Saint Spirit Wings. The Saint Spirit Wings was the Demon Wing clan's lost art. In history, only 2 people had successfully cultivated it. Mo Tianji was the third. The wings of the Devil Wing clan members were all black. However, after cultivating the Holy Spirit Wings, the Heavenly Concubine's wings turned white. In the end, they became half transparent and half jade-like. Furthermore, they were covered in white energy feathers. That's amazing. I didn't notice it before, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's not that you didn't notice it. My Holy Spirit Wings have always been hidden in my original body. When we fought, I wasn't my original body. I didn't have this ability. After I merged with my original body, I didn't use my full speed. Heavenly Concubine explained the situation. During the conversation, the distance between the Heavenly Concubine and her pursuers grew wider. The one closest to her was Ji Liao, followed by the Fire King City Master, and then the other tribulation of 9 Emperor's cultivators. Ji Liao, speed up and stop them. As long as we can stop them, they are dead for sure. This is also related to our future. With resources comes opportunities. Fire King City Master shouted at Ji Liao. He was not as fast as the Heavenly Concubine and was slowly being shaken off. He was a bit anxious because the appearance of the Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow was an opportunity for him. Ji Liao sped up again. His relationship with the Fire King City Master was not good, but their goal was the same. They wanted to kill the Heavenly Concubine, capture Night Sorrow, and find out where Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine came from. That idiot sped up. I'll kill him later. He's just a frog in a well. What a shameless boaster, the Heavenly Concubine cursed. She was very disgusted by Ji Liao. Okay, can you fake burning your essence blood and find a suitable explanation for your speed? This way, they won't give up and will chase with all their might. It will be easier to pull apart the distance. As long as we can lure Ji Liao out of the Fire King City Master's detection range, we will have more methods to use, Night Sorrow said to the Heavenly Concubine. Give me some of the black-horned dragon's essence blood. I'll activate it outside my body and show them some blood chi, the Heavenly Concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out a bottle of black-horned dragon's essence blood and gave it to the Heavenly Concubine. He had a lot of black-horned dragon's essence blood. Last time, when the black-horned dragon died, it returned to its original body. Its body was like a mountain and contained a lot of essence blood. M6. As the Heavenly Concubine activated the black-horned dragon's essence blood, a hazy blood chi appeared on the surface of her body and in her precept domain. Burning essence blood. You missed the chance to submit to the Fire King City. You must die today. Star steps. Ji Liao roared and increased his speed again. This movement technique is very powerful. His speed is about the same as mine. The Heavenly Concubine's expression changed slightly. The Fire King City Master was the most shocked. He did not know that Ji Liao's movement technique had reached such a level, which meant that Ji Liao was hiding something from him. Don't worry. His speed is about the same as yours. It'll be easy to pull away from the people behind. This is what we need. Be careful. Night Sorrow was worried about the Heavenly Concubine, but he knew that things would go smoothly. Ji Liao was going into the trap that they had planned to break one by one. B** starred. He thinks that I've burned my essence blood and my condition has deteriorated. That's why he's willing to expose his trump card to chase us. The Heavenly Concubine cursed. If she had really burned her essence blood and Ji Liao's speed was so fast, it would be very troublesome. Don't be angry. Later, we'll kill him to vent your anger, Night Sorrow said. My ability to trick people is not bad, right? Ji Liao is getting more and more impatient. When we leave the Fire King City Master's detection range later, I'll continue to pretend that I've burned my essence blood and become powerless. He'll definitely chase us, the Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow nodded. Ji Liao and the others were indeed strong, but their intelligence was worrying. In addition, the heavenly concubine's acting was very good. It was very realistic. Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators flew at full speed. Their speed was extremely fast. After an hour, the Fire King City Master and the others had completely disappeared from the Heavenly Concubine and Ji Liao's detection range. This meant that the Heavenly Concubine and Ji Liao had also left the Fire King City Master's detection range. You idiot! If you have the ability, then continue to chase us. Burn more. The Heavenly Concubine's body drew an arc and changed direction. She then took the black-horned dragon essence blood that Night Sorrow passed to her and made the illusion of burning essence blood even bigger. Chapter 2268. He's dead for sure. Let's kill him. How about we sneak attack the Fire King City Lord? Heavenly Concubine was very excited to see Ji Yen following the plan. Okay, let's kill one and we won't be passive anymore. Heavenly Concubine, you're very good at lying. Night Sorrow said. Heavenly Concubine's performance surprised him. Update, the latest /% soon 6. Go. You're very good at lying. You've never lied to anyone before. It seems like you're really talented in this area. Also, don't you know that women are very good at lying? Heavenly Concubine's words had a hint of a smile, but her face was very serious as she flew. That was for Ji Yen to see. Ji Jiao saw the Heavenly Concubine's body shine with a bloody light. He maintained his speed and chased after her. He even felt that it was a good thing that he had escaped the Fire King City leader's detection range. If this went well, he would not need to return to the Fire King City leader's face. The Fire King City Lord realized that Heavenly Concubine and Ji Yen had disappeared from his detection range and became anxious. He was worried that Heavenly Concubine would run away and get nothing. He was also worried that Ji Yen would take all the benefits for himself. With this worry, the Fire King City Lord could only chase in a straight line. Heavenly Concubine maintained her speed at the same level as Ji Yen, who was using a movement technique. She charged towards the unparalleled formation. How long can we trick him like this? Night Sorrow was a bit worried. He was worried that Ji Yen would realize something was wrong before they reached the unparalleled formation. After all, burning essence blood for a long time would make people suspicious. We'll trick him for as long as we can. If we can't trick him, we can't kill him? Heavenly Concubine's words were full of confidence. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was the truth. He and Heavenly Concubine could fight Ji Yen now, but they were worried about Ji Yen's speed. If he was determined to run, it would be troublesome. After running for a while, Heavenly Concubine reduced the amount of essence blood she used. At the same time, she slowed down because burning essence blood for a long time was very fake. As Heavenly Concubine slowed down, Ji Yen caught up and began to attack. Heavenly Concubine's Holy Spirit wings flapped as she dodged left and right. Heavenly Concubine, be careful. This is dancing on the edge of a knife. Night Sorrow was a bit worried. I'm fine. I have a plan. I'll play with him today. I definitely won't let him run away. The Heavenly Concubine's voice rang out within the vast heaven pagoda. Heavenly Concubine's speed was about the same as Ji-Ho's when he used his ultimate movement skill. When Ji-Ho attacked, his speed would decrease slightly. Heavenly Concubine's movement skill was fast, so dodging wasn't a problem. This became a normal battle between high-level cultivators. There were advantages and disadvantages, but suppressing and killing them was difficult. Of course, the current situation was controlled by the Heavenly Concubine. She wanted to make sure that Extreme Raven did not give up. Didn't I act beautifully? This is a fool who doesn't know the difference between life and death. He'll pay for his arrogance later. Heavenly Concubine chatted with Night Sorrow while fighting against Extreme Roar. She didn't feel any pressure. Soon. I've already scouted this area. According to our current speed, we're only half an hour away from our Peerless Great Formation. Night Sorrow said to Heavenly Concubine after using his soul power to scan the situation outside. Soon? Let's avoid unnecessary trouble. Watch me. At this time, Heavenly Concubine, who was flying, shouted. Red blood appeared around her waist area. Then, her body glowed red again as she sped up. What's going on? Night Sorrow's face was full of shock. It's fake. When his blade arrived, I spun around and dodged the attack. At that time, I used my precept domain to completely isolate him. He didn't know that my injury was fake. That red color was the blood of the black dragon. Heavenly Concubine sped up as she communicated with Night Sorrow. You're trying to trick people to death. Night Sorrow sighed. Heavenly Concubine's acting was too good. There was no way that Extreme Raven wouldn't chase after her. Yes, I'm trying to trick people to death. But this feeling is very exciting. I've never tried it before. Heavenly Concubine's face was very serious, but her soul and Night Sorrow's conversation was full of excitement. The chase continued. According to Extreme Raven's subjective analysis, Heavenly Concubine was injured and burned a large amount of blood essence. Her combat power had plummeted. Burning blood essence wouldn't last for long. Heavenly Concubine kept releasing the black dragon's blood essence. Then, she burned her true chi, causing the blood-colored smoke to fill the outside of her body and precept domain. Then, she flapped her Holy Spirit wings to increase her speed. The 1-hour journey was soon over. Night Sorrow's Peerless Formation was right in front of them. It was hidden in the Illusion Formation. Night Sorrow's main body and doppelganger stood in the clear sky pagoda. The Samsara halberd and blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear were in his hands. Heavenly Concubine fell into the Peerless Formation in a perfect arc. Extreme Raven, who was right behind her, also entered the Peerless Formation. After entering the Peerless Formation, Extreme Raven was dumbfounded. Heavenly Concubine was gone, and the surroundings were filled with violent energy of heaven and earth. Space-time energy blades, limitless vortex, death wave, nihility melting, and other attacks all appeared. He had been ambushed. If Extreme Raven didn't know he had been ambushed, then he was an idiot. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine stood side by side in the formation. They watched as Extreme Raven was attacked by the formation's energy. Heavenly Concubine, do you still remember how to walk in the formation? Night Sorrow asked Heavenly Concubine. I remember everything you told me. Also, this isn't the first time I've experienced this peerless formation. Don't worry, I can fight on my own. This bastard chased me all the way here. Does he think I'm afraid of him? Kill him. Heavenly Concubine's body flashed. She approached Extreme Raven and used her Compassion Life Sword Chi. Night Sorrow also attacked. His main body and doppelganger used Primordial Destruction / and Reincarnation True Dragon Art to kill Extreme Raven. Despicable and shameless person. Extreme Claw blocked the Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi and dodged the Reincarnation True Dragon Art. However, he was hit by Night Sorrow's Primordial Destruction / Although he wasn't heavily injured, his chi and blood were unstable and his true chi couldn't flow smoothly. This was only the beginning. Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow's doppelganger started attacking Extreme Raven. They had to hurry up and get rid of Extreme Raven first. After a few rounds, Extreme Raven was hit by Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi. At the same time, he noticed that Heavenly Concubine's white dress was as clean as new. There was no blood or damage. He immediately understood everything. After entering the Peerless Formation, Heavenly Concubine's dress contained energy and shook off the black dragon's essence blood. You didn't burn your essence blood? Noticing Heavenly Concubine's red face and blood energy, Extreme Raven asked, Do I need to burn my essence blood to compete with you in speed? I'm just tricking an idiot like you. Didn't you chase me with all your might? Do you really think you're that strong? Take this. Heavenly Concubine replied to Extreme Raven and continued attacking. Chapter 2269. Don't think that you are innocent. We went to negotiate, but you wanted to fight. From the moment you chased us, we were on opposing sides. If you die in battle, you can only say that you are inferior. Night Sorrow's reincarnation Heavenly Halberd appeared from the void and struck Ji Jiao's shoulder, who couldn't dodge in time. Ji Jiao's shoulder blade was shattered, and the primordial energy also entered Ji Jiao's body to destroy it. Winning with numbers and relying on the assistance of a formation, you won with an unfair advantage. Jian roared. F***ck your ancestors, can you still be shameless? It was your group that chased us first and wanted to besiege us first, okay? Now you mention this, go die. Hearing Ji Jiao's words, the heavenly concubine was very angry and began to curse. She couldn't stand Ji Jiao's shamelessness. Well scolded, true temperament, huh? Night Sorrow laughed, but he didn't stop attacking Ji Jiao. Night Sorrow knew that the heavenly concubine had changed. She became very casual and had flesh and blood like an ordinary person. She was completely different from the Mo Tianji of the Devil-Winged clan during the Three Grand Heavens. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were in high spirits as they continued to injure Ji Jiao. Ji Jiao's condition was getting worse and worse. This opponent is dead for sure. We can't see his cultivation, so we don't know if he is in the 9th Emperor Tribulation or Divine Soul Unity realm. The Golden Dragon King, who was watching from inside the array, said. He was in the 5th Emperor Tribulation, so he could see the cultivation of the 8th Emperor Tribulation. Naturally, he couldn't see the cultivation of the 9th Emperor Tribulation. If it is one of the two Divine Soul Unity realm experts, then the situation can be turned around. They can deal with a single expert, but I'm afraid if they fight together, we won't be able to resist their attack and damage. The Heavenly Astral King nodded and sighed. He didn't know when it started, but he couldn't participate in high-level battles anymore. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine killed Ji Jiao without any injuries. Ji Jiao was very poor in cultivation resources, but he was very rich in refining resources. This was the common problem of the ancient world's cultivators. They didn't have enough cultivation resources, but they collected refining materials over the years, so they still had a lot of surplus. After killing Extreme Ho, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time-accelerated layer to recover. They needed to recover to their peak state as soon as possible. The Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow only used 2 hours of real time to recover under the effects of 50 times time acceleration and the use of resources. The two of them gathered with the others because they were going to discuss the next battle deployment. Now, the two of you have two choices. One is to go back and look for the Fire King City Lord and see if you can continue to use the bait tactic. The other is to go directly to the Fire King City and clean up their high-level cultivators, Jun Xuanji said. Go to Fire King City. Let's go and find the Fire King City Lord. Whether we can meet him or not is another matter. After all, we are flying at high speed. We don't even know where he went. Besides, the Fire King City Lord saw that Ji Ho was chasing after us. He will be more or less alert. Faced with this choice, we might not gain anything. Let's give up and go to the Fire King City. That way, we will be able to maximize our gains. After listening to Jun Xuanji's suggestion, Night Sorrow made his decision. If there are no more high-level cultivators in the Fire King City, can Heavenly Astral King and I follow? This way, we can also increase our gains slightly, the Golden Dragon King said. Sure. Sister Xin Air, you will guard the unparalleled Great Array. If anything happens, just crush my communication crystal. Golden Dragon King, Heavenly Astral King, the two of you will have to enter my Clear Sky Pagoda. Without any hesitation, Night Sorrow made his decision. The Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King nodded and allowed Night Sorrow to take them into the Clear Sky Pagoda. They knew that they just had to act according to Night Sorrow's plan. In order to race against time, after exiting the Great Array, Night Sorrow handed the Clear Sky Pagoda to Heavenly Concubine. He also entered the Clear Sky Pagoda in a flash, allowing Heavenly Concubine to travel as fast as she could. Heavenly Concubine, we made a mistake. If we set up a teleportation array in the dark near the Fire King City, we wouldn't have wasted so much time. Night Sorrow, who was waiting in the Clear Sky Pagoda, found a mistake. That is indeed the case, but it doesn't matter. After we go over this time, we can set it up in time. This back and forth luring and assassinating will require a lot of running back and forth. Heavenly Concubine's thoughts were the same as Night Sorrow's. She also felt that this teleportation array was very necessary. With Heavenly Concubine flying at full speed, it took them a while to reach the vicinity of the Fire King City. Heavenly Concubine went to investigate the situation, and Night Sorrow quickly set up an illusion array. Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array in the illusion array and connected it to the teleportation array in the unparalleled great array. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of any problems, because once the illusion array was broken, the teleportation array would explode, and no one would be able to kill their way through the teleportation array into the unparalleled great array. Night Sorrow set up the array and waited for Heavenly Concubine to investigate the situation. Not long after Heavenly Concubine returned, the highest cultivation in the city is an 8 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The rest are lower, we can kill them all. It seems like the Fire King City Lord hasn't returned with a few 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivators under him. Then there's nothing to say. Let's clean up the middle and upper level cultivators. Seniors Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King, please be careful. We have to deal with our opponents safely. Night Sorrow said to Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King. Don't worry, young city lord. We haven't lived long enough. Golden Dragon King said with a smile. Also, don't resist the soul power of Heavenly Concubine and mine. Let's go. Night Sorrow ordered. The group of 4 approached Fire King City. As they got closer, the cultivators in the city came out. They could feel that Night Sorrow and the other 3 were different. In their eyes, Night Sorrow and the other 3 were resources. They had to kill and obtain them, even if they had to die. Brandishing the Samsara Heavenly Halberd in his hand, Night Sorrow controlled his doppelganger to appear and rush towards the cultivators in Fire King City. At this moment, Heavenly Concubine was already fighting with the strongest cultivator in Fire King City, an 8 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were killing the 7 Emperor Tribulation and 6 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. The Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King were attacking the 3 Emperor Tribulation and 4 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Slaughter. It was a complete slaughter. When high-level cultivators attacked the Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King, Night Sorrow would intercept them. The Samsara Heavenly Halberd and Blood-Chelan Evil-Slaying Spear would take their lives. At this moment, they were pursuing efficiency. Heavenly Concubine, let's retreat. After 2 hours of bitter fighting, Night Sorrow felt that the Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King had expended a lot of energy. He shouted to Heavenly Concubine. The Holy Spirit wings behind Heavenly Concubine flapped and drew 2 arcs. She kept Heavenly Astral King and the Golden Dragon King into the clear sky pagoda. Finally, she picked up Night Sorrow and quickly flew out of Fire King City. After leaving a distance and shaking off the pursuers, Heavenly Concubine entered the illusion array area where the teleportation array was. 7/MOTT New, Chapter Y = Section 1Z, rest for a while. Shall we continue? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Chapter 2270. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Heavenly Concubine and the others nodded. She understood that Night Sorrow was worried about the safety of the Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King. The Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King didn't say anything. They knew that Night Sorrow had various considerations. If he didn't consider their safety, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine could still fight because the Fire King City Lord couldn't threaten their safety. On La Golden Dragon King, Senior Heavenly Astral King, the 2 of you take the teleportation array back. Pay attention to the unparalleled array. There can't be any problems there. We still need the array to support the war, Night Sorrow said. After cupping his fists at Night Sorrow, the Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King left. There was no point in them staying here. Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine entered the clear sky pagoda's time acceleration level. Heavenly Concubine, let's recover quickly and then start killing, Night Sorrow said to the Heavenly Concubine. Start killing after recovering? The Heavenly Concubine was stunned. Yes, we'll go and kill again. If the Fire King City Lord comes back, we'll lure him out. If he chases us, we'll kill him. If he doesn't chase us, we won't lose anything. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he ate a pill and held the Monarch Spirit Stone in his hand to recover. The Heavenly Concubine smiled because Night Sorrow understood it better than her. She was still thinking about what to do if the Fire King City Lord came back. Subjectively, she was still thinking about the danger and unfeasibility. However, Night Sorrow's mind was clear. He saw the problem directly and was still carrying out the war according to the plan. After recovering for 2 hours, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine set off again and entered the Fire King City to kill. After killing for a while, the Fire King City Lord returned with 3 cultivators from the tribulation of the 9 emperors. They appeared in Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine's detection range. Night Sorrow, they're in a bad state. Should we kill them? The heavenly concubine asked Night Sorrow after killing a cultivator from the tribulation of the 5 emperors. Kill. That Fire King City Lord is probably hard to kill. Don't worry about him, I'll help you pin him down. You kill the weakest one and then we'll run. Night Sorrow said to heavenly concubine. Be careful. If we can't handle it, we'll run. There's no need to fight to the death. The heavenly concubine nodded at Night Sorrow and headed out of the city. She charged towards the Fire King City Lord and the others. The 2 sides clashed. Night Sorrow's original body charged towards the Fire King City Lord. As he charged forward, a hazy energy appeared around his body. With a thought, a world was born. Night Sorrow used the 1,000 Realms defensive body. Night Sorrow's main body rushed towards the Fire King City Lord while his avatar rushed towards another 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. He wanted to create a space for the heavenly concubine to kill her opponent. The battle was very intense. This was a high-end group battle. The heavenly concubine dodged an ancient cultivator's attack and started fighting against a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Night Sorrow had the 1,000 Realms defensive body. He didn't care about ordinary attacks. He used soul attacks and spatial cracks to stop the Fire King City Lord and the strongest 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The heavenly concubine relied on her speed to dodge an attack from a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. She killed the weakest one. As the battle continued, the heavenly concubine's opponents kept getting hit. It was the extremely destructive Compassion Life Sword Chi. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine weren't much stronger than their opponents. In fact, their overall strength was inferior. However, their states were different. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were at their peak while the Fire King City Lord and the others were exhausted. They had expended a lot of energy chasing after the heavenly concubine and extreme flame. After their soul crystals were crushed by their subordinates, the Fire King City Lord and the others didn't care about some reinforcements. They didn't have any time to recover. Heavenly concubine, be careful. Night Sorrow noticed the heavenly concubine's opponent was struggling desperately and reminded the heavenly concubine. He's dead for sure, the heavenly concubine replied to Night Sorrow. 2 strands of sword chi attacked the opponent's body again. You asked for it. Disintegrate. At this time, the heavenly concubine's target roared. His body instantly expanded and exploded. Then, a black soul rushed towards the heavenly concubine. The heavenly concubine's soul shook and blocked the black soul outside her head. However, she didn't force it back. At this time, the other ancient cultivators started attacking wildly. Because the heavenly concubine was using soul defense, her battle strength plummeted. Night Sorrow leave. He's using a secret technique to possess you, the heavenly concubine shouted at Night Sorrow. How could Night Sorrow leave the heavenly concubine in danger? He couldn't and wouldn't do that. He would only think of a way to solve this problem. Break, explode. Night Sorrow roared. The doppelganger's left arm broke and flew towards the heavenly concubine. Then, the doppelganger pounced on the main body and merged with the main body. After that, Night Sorrow used the space-time realm and appeared in front of the heavenly concubine. Then, he pushed the 1,000 Worlds defense to the maximum to block the explosion of his left arm for himself and the heavenly concubine. The self-detonation power of a 9 Emperor's Tribulation cultivator was astonishing. The self-detonation power of one of Yi Shang's arms was equally astonishing. The power of qi and blood contained in one of his arms was not much weaker than that of a 9 Emperor's Tribulation cultivator. Following the explosion, the soul attack of the ancient cultivator was pushed back. However, Night Sorrow also spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. He was pushed against the heavenly concubine's chest by the energy impact. He was also pushed back by the heavenly concubine. His sternum was shattered. In order to protect the heavenly concubine, he couldn't dodge at all. He could only take it head-on. Go! Night Sorrow's soul power exploded and absorbed most of the blood chi from the explosion of his left arm. Then, he entered the clear sky pagoda. The heavenly concubine was still in shock. However, it didn't delay her actions. She grabbed the clear sky pagoda with her left hand and flashed away. The Fire King City Master and the others gave up after a short distance. They couldn't catch up with her the first time. Now that they were not in the same condition as the heavenly concubine, they couldn't even catch up. When they returned to the Fire King City, the Fire King City Master's expression was very ugly. Most of the Emperor Tribulation cultivators under his command were killed. There were almost no mid-level Emperor Tribulation cultivators left. He had been tricked. The Fire King City Master knew that he had been tricked and suffered a great loss. In a palace in the City Master's mansion, the soul crystals of a few high-level cultivators of the Fire King City were extinguished. Among them, there was Ji Hao's soul crystal. Activate the city protection formation. We'll defend first. The Fire King City Master ordered. The heavenly concubine brought Night Sorrow. After confirming that there were no pursuers, they entered the teleportation formation. At this time, Night Sorrow also appeared. Night Sorrow, how are you? The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow worriedly. She knew that Night Sorrow had taken the brunt of the explosion to protect her. It's a little serious. Let's go back to the unparalleled formation first. Night Sorrow nodded. His current situation was not good. Fortunately, he had absorbed most of the blood chi from the explosion of his left arm. It would be easier for him to recover when he returned. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine returned to the unparalleled formation. Night Sorrow enlarged the clear sky pagoda and entered the time acceleration layer. Heavenly concubine, what happened to the young city master? The Golden Dragon King asked worriedly. Chapter 2271. The heavenly concubine told the Golden Dragon King, Lin Piaomiao, and the others about the situation. This isn't a small victory, but the price is too high, the heavenly astral king said. The others didn't say anything. Their hearts were heavy, and they didn't want anything to happen to Night Sorrow. In the clear sky pagoda's time-accelerated layer, Night Sorrow's main body and clone sat separately on the ground. His clone was wrapped in energy that hadn't dissipated yet. He used this energy to regenerate his broken limbs. His main body ate an elixir and took a monarch spirit stone to heal. The heavenly concubine stayed in her tent. After this battle, she had a deep feeling because Night Sorrow was sincere in saving her, even at the cost of his life. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow risking his life to save her, her soul would have been attacked, and her combat power would have decreased. She would have been in danger of dying in the encirclement. After thinking for a while, the heavenly concubine once again confirmed that living in the nine-domain world was the best choice. She asked herself, in the Demon Wing clan, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian could help her, but to the extent of risking their lives, they couldn't do it. After a month, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. Are you okay? The moment Night Sorrow came out, the heavenly concubine flashed to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine. I was just beaten up because my skills weren't as good. It hurt a little. Night Sorrow smiled and brought the heavenly concubine into the command tent. After Night Sorrow came out of seclusion, the main members of the team entered the command tent. Have there been any movements during this time? Night Sorrow asked as he brewed tea. No, there haven't been any ancient cultivators in our region. Lin Piaomiao nodded to Night Sorrow. How's the spatial tunnel? Have there been any ancient cultivators in our 100 regions? Night Sorrow asked again. He was fighting at the front, so the defensive line behind was also very important. They did. Ancient cultivators appeared in a few districts near the periphery. However, they were exterminated. Lin Piaomiao gave Night Sorrow the answer. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling much more at ease. Following that, he analyzed the current situation of the Fire King City with everyone. According to the comparison of strength, both sides were not too far apart. We still can't fight them head-on. That'll only cause injuries. The best way is to rely on this formation to kill them, Jun Xuanji said. Xuanji, you're right. The array formation that took 3 years to complete must be put to good use. Night Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji and nodded. After chatting for a while, the meeting adjourned. There were some things that Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. He planned to launch a sneak attack, but he didn't need everyone to do so. This was a blow to everyone's morale. After the meeting adjourned, Yi Shang accompanied his wives who had come to participate in the battle and walked around the perimeter of the array. Lin Piaomiao followed the team and acted as a bridge. She communicated with the rear and made some necessary adjustments. Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Datura were all in the god-slaying team. Xue Shi was in Sky City dealing with family matters. Night Sorrow, you have to be careful. Everyone is worried about you. Fighting for the Celestial Realm and the 9 Regions world is something you should do. However, you have to think about yourself and your family, Sikong Chuyu said. I'll be careful. I've made you all worry, Night Sorrow said apologetically. We're not blaming you. We just don't want anything to happen to you, Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that his family was worried. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow called the heavenly concubine to his tent. Are we going to proceed to the next step of the plan? The heavenly concubine asked. Yes. We can't be stopped by the Fire King City. As long as we work together to heavily injure one, we can proceed to the final battle, Night Sorrow said. I've seen your sneak attacks in the past. You're good at the spatial element. Bring me along and we'll work together to heavily injure one. Even if we don't kill him, we just need to destroy his body and make him lose his ability to fight. The heavenly concubine nodded. She supported his decision. What was the soul attack after that guy self-destructed? Night Sorrow asked. That was a soul secret technique. It's used for possession. If his soul body enters the divine sea, it'll be troublesome. It'll be easy for his soul to be destroyed and his body to be possessed. It should be a soul secret technique inheritance, the heavenly concubine analyzed. She still had lingering fears. That situation was too dangerous. We can't be careless with the cultivators of the ancient world group. Their foundations are too deep. We don't even know some of their inherited secret techniques and ultimate techniques. One careless mistake could be fatal, Yi Shan said. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine decided to assassinate a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator under the Fire King City's city lord. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were still a little afraid of the Fire King City's city lord because his battle strength was indeed strong. His only weakness was that his speed wasn't outstanding. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao talked to each other before leaving with the heavenly concubine. They took the teleportation array and arrived at the illusion array outside the Fire King City. Night Sorrow, if there's any more danger, don't save me like last time. Nothing can happen to you, the heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Then something can happen to you. Let me ask you, if I'm in danger, will you save me? If you save me, then don't say anything else, Night Sorrow said. But there are some things that I don't know as well as you do. But no matter what, you have to be careful. The heavenly concubine thought about it and nodded. If Night Sorrow was in that situation, she would also save him. Seeing the heavenly concubine nod, Night Sorrow smiled. He used a rhetorical question to dispel some of the thoughts that the heavenly concubine shouldn't have. It's good to have battles. After a few years, I can settle down and continue my closed-door training. Night Sorrow let out a breath and said. The heavenly concubine supported Night Sorrow's point of view. Improving and settling down went hand in hand. Night Sorrow's choice was right. Night Sorrow waved his arm and tore a hole in space. Night Sorrow's protective energy wrapped around the heavenly concubine and they entered the chaotic void stream. Be careful. Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators are very sensitive to the fluctuations of heaven and earth energy. Will be easily discovered in the chaotic void stream, the heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and used the Thousand Realms defense body to completely isolate himself from the heavenly concubine's aura. Then the two of them flew toward the Fire King City. At this moment, in Fire King City, The Fire King City Governor and 2 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators were thinking of countermeasures. The Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivator who had self-destructed had taken over the body of a talented cultivator and was in seclusion. Positive N version R. C. Chapter 2272. We can't defend. Yes, they'll definitely attack. If they can kill Ji Jiao, they must have strength we don't know about. That divine soul uniting realm cultivator's speed is shocking and his movement technique is outstanding. That sword chi absolute art is especially powerful. That young Tribulation's 6 Emperors cultivator's combat power is also shocking. I can't kill him in a short time. The Fire King City Lord shook his head and sighed. He was the one who wanted to fight. Now that he was weaker, he felt defeated. The 2 Tribulation 9 Emperors cultivators sitting below the Fire King City Lord didn't say anything. This was the truth. The Fire King City's strength had been greatly reduced. They had lost more than half of their high-level and ordinary combat power. Most importantly, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine had killed Ji Jiao and destroyed a Tribulation 9 Emperor's cultivator right in front of them. This meant that they had defeated and killed the Fire King City's peak strength. It would be easier to deal with them now. Let's go. Take the cultivators with us and leave. We don't care about the rest. If they want the Fire King City, we'll give it to them. The Fire King City Lord made his decision. Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine approached the Fire King City amidst the spatial turbulence. Spatial reinforcement. They've activated the city protection array. Night Sorrow saw the difference. Can we pass? The Heavenly Concubine asked. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He waved his empty left hand and a blank area appeared in the spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow brought the Heavenly Concubine forward. Seeing how Night Sorrow solved the problem so easily, the Heavenly Concubine sighed. She knew that no cultivator she knew could compare with Night Sorrow in terms of spatial attainment. The fact that he could cultivate the Thousand Realms defense body meant that he was skilled. Are they trying to escape? After entering the Fire King City, the Heavenly Concubine sensed the Fire King City Lord and the 2 Tribulation 9 Emperors cultivators' movements. They're trying to escape. What should we do? The sudden situation stunned Night Sorrow. This wasn't part of the plan, and there was no plan to deal with it. How would I know what to do? Heavenly Concubine was at a loss. She wasn't prepared for this. If they run away, they will be a threat. If they know that people from the realm have appeared, they will definitely look for the spatial passageway everywhere. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and considered the problem of danger first. Let's ignore the 2 cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors for now. If they want to run, then run. Let's work together and kill the Fire King City Lord first. He's the biggest threat, said the Heavenly Concubine. That's the only way. If they split up, we can't stop them. If the other 2 cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors don't run away, what if they follow the Fire King City Master and fight with us? If that's the case, we won't be able to achieve our goal. Night Sorrow spoke. He knew that choosing the City Lord of the Fire King City was the best way to deal with this. However, there were still some problems. Don't worry, we will attack the Fire King City Master and injure him severely as soon as possible. The 2 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators will be afraid and they won't dare to attack. Under such circumstances, if they still plan to come and help, we will give them a warning and ask them to scram. If they don't scram, we will give up on the Fire King City Lord and kill them. I don't believe that they aren't afraid of death. Heavenly Concubine's fair face revealed killing intent. Then let's wait and see. As long as we can injure the Fire King City Lord quickly, we will be able to intimidate them. Night Sorrow felt that the Heavenly Concubine's threat would be effective. Of course, it wasn't a threat. If the 2 cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors really came to help, they would really kill them. Genuine P. Quietly, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine approached the area where the Fire King City Lord was. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at Heavenly Concubine. I'm ready. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. His clone appeared and stood beside him. Night Sorrow let out a breath and calmed himself down. He had never ambushed a divine soul unity realm cultivator before. After calming himself down, Night Sorrow released the energy of the Thousand Realms defense body to the maximum. He controlled his aura so that it wouldn't leak out. Then, soul-extinguishing Crescent Moon Blade appeared behind his main body and clone. Both his main body and clone began to accumulate energy. It was the same for Heavenly Concubine. If they were to attack, they would injure the Fire King City Lord severely. When he felt that it was about time, Night Sorrow's main body slashed down with his left hand and tore to the side. Then, 2 Crescent Moon Blades flew out. Then, he released the Merit Primordial Taboo Dao Domain. It was the Merit Primordial Taboo Dao Domain supported by the Human Dao Sacred Scripture, Dao De Jing. It was released by both his main body and clone at the same time. After the suppression of the Dao Domain was completed, Night Sorrow's main body and clone attacked together. Primordial Annihilation / and Reincarnation True Dragon Art bombarded the Fire King City Lord together. Heavenly Concubine's attack was even faster. She flew out from Night Sorrow's side and used the Compassion Life Sword Chi to attack the Fire King City Lord's body. The sudden attack caused the Fire King City Lord's expression to change drastically. He wanted to counterattack, but he was suppressed by Night Sorrow's Dao Domain. His movements were also restricted. After being affected by Night Sorrow's soul attack, he couldn't dodge Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi. After the Fire King City Lord was hit by the Compassion Life Sword Chi, he was then hit by Night Sorrow's 2 spears. His weapon hurriedly blocked the Heavenly Samsara Halberd, but the Blood Qilin Evil Slaying Spear pierced through his abdomen. He grabbed the Blood Qilin Evil Slaying Spear with his left hand and kicked Night Sorrow's abdomen. Night Sorrow's clone's right arm shook the Blood Qilin Evil Slaying Spear. The reincarnation energy rushed toward the Fire King City Lord's body. His main body slapped out the Heavenly Samsara Halberd diagonally and smashed the Fire King City Lord's right foot that was kicking his clone's abdomen. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow's main body was sent flying. At the same time, the Fire King City Lord's right foot bone was also shattered. The Fire King City Lord's attack was very fierce. Night Sorrow knew that it was because of the Heavenly Concubine's cooperation and the Compassion Life Sword Chi that wreaked havoc in the Fire King City Lord's body. Otherwise, he would have received this kick. Night Sorrow's main body was forced back. The Fire King City Lord waved his weapon and forced the Heavenly Concubine back. Then his left hand punched at Night Sorrow's clone. The punch was fierce. Night Sorrow's clone didn't dare to take it head-on. He pulled out the Blood Qilin Evil Slaying Spear that had been released from his control and floated back. He controlled his Dao Domain and Soul attack to prepare for a second attack. The Heavenly Concubine floated back and rushed over again, beginning the second wave of attacks. Men, both of you deserve to die. The Fire King City Lord was severely injured. He opened his mouth to shout and then cursed angrily. You deserve to die. I was talking to you, but you put on airs. Do you really think you're so capable? I'll let you die today. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi once again attacked the Fire King City Lord's body. Then, she surrounded the Fire King City Lord and kept attacking. Night Sorrow's main body and clone also attacked the Fire King City Lord with their spear lights. At this time, the Fire King City Lord had released his Dao Domain. However, he was suppressed to a certain area. His movements and attacks were restricted. He was constantly receiving damage from the Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow's attacks. At this time, the 2 cultivators under the Fire King City Lord's tribulation of the 9 emperors flew over. Even without the Fire King City Lord's call, they knew about such a big battle. Chapter 2273. Hearing Yi Shang's shout, the 2 cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who were approaching, paused. They hesitated. Night Sorrow's words were full of intimidation. If Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine were determined to give up on killing the Fire King City Lord and attack them instead, they would be in danger of dying. They were also worried that if Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine attacked them, what would the Fire King City Lord do? If the Fire King City Lord could give up on Fire King City, he could also give up on them. After hesitating for a moment, the 2 tribulation of 9 emperors looked at each other and left. Selfish. At this moment, they were showing extreme selfishness. Both of you deserve to die. Seeing the two powerful subordinates leave, the Fire King City Lord roared in exasperation. He knew that he had been abandoned. You are always shouting that this one deserves to die, that one deserves to die. You deserve to die the most. Heavenly Concubine roared, and a sword chi shot into the Fire King City Lord's chest. Fire King City was in chaos. All the cultivators fled in all directions. No one was stupid. They naturally understood the situation of their city lord. Since the two tribulation of 9 emperors' elders had fled, why wouldn't they flee? When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. This was the portrayal of Fire King City. No one helped him. He was heavily injured from the start. In addition, his speed was not as fast as Heavenly Concubine's. The Fire King City Lord was suppressed and killed. An hour later, the Fire King City Lord's body was destroyed by Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine. Because of Night Sorrow's soul destruction / and Heavenly Concubine's soul shock, he didn't even have the chance to self-destruct. After his body was destroyed, the Fire King City Lord's spiritual body was not completely destroyed. 3 parts of his spiritual body escaped. Night Sorrow's main body and avatar controlled the fire of virtue to lock down 2 balls of spiritual body, allowing one of them to escape. We didn't kill him completely. Night Sorrow said. Enough. His body is gone. Only 1/3 of his soul is left. He can't recover and won't be a threat anymore. Heavenly Concubine took the battle blade and storage ring left behind by the Fire King City Lord and said, "The Fire King City Master is no longer a threat, but the 2 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators are still a problem. In addition, the cultivators of Fire King City are fleeing in all directions. They left Fire King City and will seek refuge with other powers. They will report this matter to their superiors. If they search the spatial passageway, they will definitely become the target of the ancient cultivators. The news will definitely be leaked." Night Sorrow helplessly shook his head. This is unavoidable. A massacre without leaving anyone alive? We can't do that. We can't. Heavenly Concubine said. Yes, we can't do that. We can't do it either. Night Sorrow nodded. After that, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine cleaned up the City Lord's mansion and collected a large amount of refining materials before returning to the illusion array. Let's not tear down this teleportation array for the time being. Let's just leave it as it is. Let's go back, Night Sorrow said to Heavenly Concubine. After returning to the unparalleled Great Formation, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine first recovered. Then, Night Sorrow gathered the main members in the main tent and reported the current situation. In other words, our confrontation with Fire King City has ended? The Golden Dragon King looked at Night Sorrow in astonishment. Yes, it's over. Also, after thinking about it, I feel that we should focus on defense. Fighting like this isn't a solution. Not to mention killing, it won't solve the root of the problem. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. No one objected to Night Sorrow's suggestion. The main idea was decided just like that. After using close to a month, Night Sorrow dismantled the unparalleled Great Formation. The arrangement and dismantling of the unparalleled Great Formation wasted a lot of energy, but Night Sorrow didn't feel that it was unnecessary. This was because there wasn't a huge impact. If there was, the unparalleled Great Formation would be a safeguard. After dismantling the unparalleled Great Formation, Night Sorrow led his people to clean up the path and then returned to the spatial tunnel. After returning to the celestial realm at the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow and King Yowu discussed some of their thoughts. The ancient world group is too big, and the situation is unclear. Our main goal is to defend. King Yowu nodded. In addition, I plan to arrange an unparalleled Great Formation. Uncle, do you think we should arrange it inside or outside the spatial tunnel? Night Sorrow asked King Yowu. We are from the celestial realm. Our goal is to protect the celestial realm from being invaded. Let's place it on our side. This is in line with the heavenly law. King Yowu spoke his thoughts. Okay, then I will arrange it. Night Sorrow had the same thoughts as King Yowu. Actually, the reason he had retreated was because Night Sorrow had been shaken. No matter how good the reason was, It was a fact that he had entered the ancient world and slaughtered everyone. He was an invader and had lost his sense of righteousness. This was also the reason why he had not received any merit when he returned to the celestial realm despite his plentiful battle results. Allowing the team to move freely, Night Sorrow led the array masters from the ethereal imperial city to set up the second array. This time, the heavenly desolate city and the godly capital city provided a lot of resources. They didn't let Night Sorrow carry everything alone. However, the core materials of the formation were provided by Night Sorrow. Kuaishua 7 on _ the Grand Elder had come. Tran Hung was in Heaven Wasteland City and Lu Qi was in Shindu City. The Heaven Wasteland army was enough to station on Samsara Island, so the Grand Elder had come to help. After communicating with Night Sorrow for a while, the Grand Elder nodded as he watched Night Sorrow go to set up the array. His aura is steady and deep, and his strength is enough. Yes, he can even kill the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. We might not be able to do that, King Yo-Wu said with a smile. He has done what we can't do. We don't have to worry too much about it in the future. We will fight however he wants, the Grand Elder said with a smile. We can't do that. His main focus is still on cultivation. He has a lot of room for improvement and needs a lot of energy. His doppelganger is now setting up the array, and his original body is already in seclusion. We can't disrupt his cultivation plan. King Yo-Wu shook his head. One more step. As long as he takes one more step, we can rest assured, the Grand Elder said. The tribulation of the 6 emperors to the tribulation of the 7 emperors was a watershed for high-level cultivators. Countless years had passed. There were cultivators of the tribulation of the 5 emperors and the tribulation of the 6 emperors in the celestial realm, but there were only 3 high-level cultivators of the tribulation of the emperor in this reincarnation cycle: Tran Hung, King Yo-Wu, and the Grand Elder. This showed how difficult it was. The cultivators of the tribulation of the 6 emperors and the tribulation of the 7 emperors were at completely different levels. When one cultivated to the tribulation of the 7 emperors, the level of the soul would be upgraded and their life would be sublimated. For example, if a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors met a cultivator of the tribulation of the 6 emperors, he could kill them without hesitation. However, he could not kill a cultivator of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. If a cultivator of the tribulation of the 7 emperors left his body, the cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors could not stop or control him without special means. It was just like the heavenly concubine, who was clearly seriously injured, but still managed to escape. Chapter 2274. Night Sorrow had never stopped cultivating. His 9 regions doppelgangers had been studying the 1,000 Realms defense technique. His main body had been cultivating except for necessary battles. He used the Wuji body tempering art to strengthen his body and cultivate at the same time. While arranging the formation, Yi Shang's understanding of the nature of the energy between heaven and earth had deepened a lot. This time, it took him 2 years to complete the unparalleled formation. Then he handed over the control of the formation to King Yo-Wu. King Yo-Wu was the most suitable person to be in charge of the formation. King Yo-Wu didn't refuse. He knew Night Sorrow had a lot of things to do. He was the most suitable person to guard the place. While drinking tea, the Grand Elder asked about Night Sorrow's situation. He was more concerned about this and could give some ideas. He wasn't as good as Night Sorrow, but he was experienced. 2 years ago, I went through some fierce battles. After I went into seclusion, I integrated what I learned and gained some insights. It's a good harvest, Night Sorrow said. How confident are you when you reach the tribulation of the 7th Emperor? The Grand Elder asked anxiously. Grand Elder, you can see it. I just finished the tribulation of the 6th Emperor not long ago. I still need time to reach the tribulation of the 7th Emperor. Night Sorrow smiled. His main body had been cultivating in seclusion, but it was mainly to cultivate his body. He had been using the Wuji body tempering art to strengthen his body. Now, his body's cultivation had reached the late stage of the tribulation of the 6th Emperor. The tribulation of the 6th Emperor showed the general trend of the way of the heavens. It was the interpretation of the way. Every step forward was difficult. It was a good sign that one could keep improving. It was impossible to have a sudden epiphany or a sudden breakthrough. You need time? Well, that's a good thing. There's plenty of time. The Grand Elder nodded. He could see Night Sorrow's realm, but he was eager to know what Night Sorrow had achieved. Why, Night Sorrow, although it is the end of the era, there are still hundreds of billions of years before the new cycle begins. Uncle Master, Tran Hung, and the Grand Elder may not have the time, but you do, King Yowu said with a smile. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment before he understood what King Yowu meant. Night Sorrow touched upon the taboo attribute. The Emperor Tribulation of an era took the initiative to descend, a deity-destroying tribulation. He had a full era to cultivate and prepare. However, Tran Hung, King Yowu, and the Grand Elder could not. Neither could the heavenly concubine, Mo Jantin, and Mo Yudin. They were characters from the previous reincarnation and had lived for a few years at the end of the previous reincarnation. Therefore, their lifespan would not be at the beginning of the next reincarnation. The number of years they lived in the previous reincarnation would be the number of years they would be tested by the God-destroying tribulation in this reincarnation. Without passing the God-destroying tribulation, one's lifespan would not exceed one reincarnation. This was also the rule of the heavens. This was also why there was a saying that after passing the God-destroying tribulation, one would be able to control reincarnation. This was because only by controlling reincarnation could one's lifespan surpass the limit of one reincarnation. Then what is everyone's lifespan like? Uncle Master, Lord Tran Hung, and the Grand Elder, what is your situation? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. An era lasts for hundreds of billions of years. I have not even lived for hundreds of millions of years. I was born in the beginning of the last era of the previous reincarnation. The Grand Elder said with a smile. He was already indifferent to some things. He only hoped that the 100 races of the celestial realm would rise again. Next is Uncle Master. He has a lifespan of about a few billion years. King Yowu also explained his situation. Less than 10 billion years, less than one era. Lord Tran Hung is a little better. He was born in the middle of the last era of the previous reincarnation. He has a lifespan of a few eras. The Grand Elder added on Tran Hung's situation. Looking at the Grand Elder, Night Sorrow was a little anxious. This was because the Grand Elder's lifespan was really not much. For practitioners, hundreds of millions of years were nothing. Don't think too much. I have lived for so long and have seen through everything. Because I have always been in charge of the 100 races of the celestial realm, I have some luck. Otherwise, I would not have achieved what I have now. The Grand Elder said with a smile. That's not right. Grand Elder, you have not passed the tribulation of the 9 emperors for long. Night Sorrow said what he could not understand. It's like this. Because of some external reasons and the deliberate interference of practitioners, the tribulation of the 9 emperors can be delayed. After several emperors' tribulations, the tribulation of the 9 emperors can be delayed. After several emperors' tribulations, the tribulation of the 9 emperors' tribulations can be delayed. One reincarnation cycle lasts 10 eras. Normally, there are 9 emperors' tribulations and 1 God-destroying tribulation. However, it is possible to pass 8 thunder tribulations in 9 eras. However, the last God-destroying tribulation is unavoidable. King Yowu explained to Night Sorrow. After hearing King Yowu's explanation, Night Sorrow understood that this was a method that some practitioners considered when they were not sure about passing the tribulation of the 9 emperors. However, the heavenly rules could not be changed. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow told Zhuodong of the First Army and Long Jin, Yun Huang and Liang Yu of the God-slaying team. Then he left. After the formation was set up and everything was stable, he planned to go back to the 9 regions world to practice. Our leader allowed us to act freely. Then we can do whatever we want. If there is a battle order, we must gather at once. Long Jin said to the members of the God-slaying team. As for the matter of the First Army, he did not care. After returning to the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow went into seclusion. He entered the soul-nourishing palace in the sky-ceiling Grand Hall. He wanted to pass the tribulation of the 7 emperors as soon as possible. At that time, he would not be afraid of anyone even if he had to fight alone. Knight Sorrow went into seclusion. His subordinates also went into seclusion, including his wife. The war was still going on. However, King Yawu was in charge of it. Whenever a practitioner appeared in the 100 zones near the spatial tunnel, King Yawu would send people to eliminate them according to the situation. If a high-level practitioner appeared, he would personally take action. He was a divine soul unification realm practitioner. As long as the practitioner was not in the divine soul unification realm, he could kill them all. Mo Zhantian had already understood the situation in the celestial realm. Although he was anxious, he did not dare to act rashly. There was only one chance to enter the celestial realm. Once the transmission formation of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was activated, they would be exposed. Then, the battle with the celestial realm would officially begin. He felt that he had to wait. He needed to recover while Mo Yutian was still cultivating. Time passed. In this great era, all the practitioners had unprecedented opportunities to break through. It was just like Tran Hung, King Yawu, Unparalleled Sword Emperor and the Grand Elder. They had seized the opportunity to rise. Knight Sorrow did not come out of seclusion. He did not even send out his doppelgangers because his 2 doppelgangers were studying the 1,000 Realms defensive body. Mother, when will father come out of seclusion? If he doesn't come out, I can't even get married. Yi Qingyan and her mother were talking in a mansion in the Sky City. Indeed, it's been a long time. However, you should know that we cannot interrupt your father's seclusion. Why don't we let your grandpa and grandma take care of it? Aoi looked at her daughter and said. Chapter 2275. It had been 100 years since Knight Sorrow returned to the 9 regions world. Even the preaching date had been pushed back by Tran Hung. Zhan Yi and Yi Qingyan's relationship had matured after 100 years. Both their parents had agreed to hold the wedding at any time. However, Knight Sorrow was not around, so they had to wait. Qingyan, your father is in seclusion. I'll have to trouble you and Zhan Yi for now, Lin Miao Miao smiled. She had just come out of seclusion and was already at the peak of the tribulation of the 3 emperors. She was ready to undergo the tribulation of the 4 emperors. Aunt, you're thinking too much. I'm just asking. Qingyan sat down beside Lin Miao Miao and smiled. Aunt, you're exaggerating. Nothing is more important than Martial Uncle's seclusion. This is not just his personal matter. It also concerns the future of the celestial realm and the 9 regions world. Zhan Yi bowed to Lin Miao Miao and the others. You have a good view of the big picture. Your Martial Uncle's matter is indeed not just the Yi clan's matter. It concerns the big picture. However, it shouldn't take too long, Yang Lei said. Zhan Yi, have you seen your parents recently? How are they? Sikong Chiyu asked. Aunt, my mother is in charge of some matters in the Qing Emperor city. My father went to the ancient world twice. I don't know the details, Zhan Yi said. The Yi clan was very casual. Yang Lei and the others had told Zhan Yi not to be polite. However, Zhan Yi had always treated his elders with respect. It was completely different from Yi Qingyan and the others. Qingyan, wait for your father for a while longer. If he doesn't come out of seclusion in 20 years, I'll arrange it for you. You can't not get married just because of him, Yu Qing said. Grandmother, I can't do that. In my father's heart, us siblings are his favorite. If I get married while he's in seclusion, he'll definitely feel regretful. He might even feel like he owes me. Yi Qingyan shook her head. Mother, Knight Sorrow won't be in seclusion for long. He should be coming out soon, Sikong Chiyu said. He's in seclusion for 100 years. It must be very tiring. Yu Qing sighed. She had many children and grandchildren. However, she was still worried about her son. At the entrance of the spatial passage, King Yawu, the Grand Elder, and the leaders of the celestial realm beast emperors. Huang Ling looked. It's boring. After the young city lord went into seclusion, he lacked that kind of passion, so there wasn't much progress, the Golden Dragon King said after taking a sip of wine. He's young and ambitious. It's only natural that he wants to improve himself. He's been in seclusion for 100 years. When he comes out, he'll probably reach a new level, the great elder said with a smile. That's right. Ordinary cultivators have bottlenecks. It's very difficult to break through the bottleneck even if they grind it out over time. But he's different. I've been observing him. His body is one level higher than his soul realm. What is that? That's using strength to prove one's Tao. When the energy in his body surpasses the realm, it will drive the realm forward. Using strength to prove one's Tao is another cultivation method recognized by the heavenly Tao, King Yewu said. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. King Blood Kirin said. He had successfully broken through and returned. Once again, he broke his right arm and injected the blood chi into his body. Night Sorrow's body exploded. Night Sorrow realized that his body had turned into energy. His flesh and bones were full of crystal. Night Sorrow's body had reached the tribulation of 7 emperors. Night Sorrow, the tribulation of thunder is coming. Are you okay? The 9-region origin appeared in front of Night Sorrow. It's too late to regenerate my right arm. I'll have to go through the tribulation first. Night Sorrow sighed. He had no choice but to go through the tribulation of thunder in his peak condition. Don't worry. I can use the world's origin to block it and delay the tribulation of thunder. However, it won't take long. Hurry up. The world's origin left. At this moment, the people in 9-region city realized that something was wrong. Black clouds covered the entire 9-region city in the sky. Lightning flashed in the black clouds and there were crackling sounds of thunder. Tribulation cloud. Who's going through the tribulation? What kind of tribulation cloud is this? If it descends, it will destroy the entire 9-region city. In front of the city lord's mansion, Yun Tianlong's face was solemn. He had never heard of such a tribulation cloud before. You don't know? We've been here all this time but we haven't seen any high-level cultivators enter the 9-region world. The Realm Lord? The Realm Lord has been in seclusion in the Heaven Sealing Hall. Tai Shu Yen thought of Night Sorrow. At this moment, a rich origin energy appeared around the Heaven Sealing Hall. The origin energy with a multicolored glow shot up into the sky and resisted the tribulation cloud suppression. What's going on? Does the Night Emperor know what's going on? Yun Tianlong looked at Yilinghuan. In the past, Yilinghuan was part of the upper echelon of the Night Moon dynasty. Some people called him the Night Emperor. The world's origin energy is resisting the tribulation cloud. Perhaps the person undergoing the tribulation is not ready. The person undergoing the tribulation should be Night Sorrow. The world's origin energy will only care about his situation. The world's origin energy will not make a big fuss about other people's lives. Yilinghuan said. In the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow took out the black horn dragon's heart blood, which contained the purest energy. He also used a pill to regenerate his broken limb at full speed. He wanted to recover as soon as possible so that he could face the tribulation of thunder. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow finished regenerating his right arm after cultivating for 4 days in a time acceleration environment. The world's origin energy appeared again. He told Night Sorrow that he could only hold off the tribulation of thunder for 2 hours. The rest would depend on Night Sorrow himself. Thank you. I'm fine right now. Night Sorrow turned to look at his clone, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation. The clone flashed and merged with the main body. Good. Then I'll wait to congratulate you, Realm Lord. The 9 realms origin energy nodded to Night Sorrow. After leaving the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow streaked across the sky and left 9 realms city with the tribulation cloud. He rushed toward the realm sea. Yilinghuan and the others followed. Night Sorrow didn't deliberately shake anyone off, so everyone could keep up. At the same time, Chu Lingfei, who was passing by 9 realms city, went to Sky City to notify the Yi family. The Yi family, led by the heavenly concubine, also arrived at the realm sea. Night Sorrow landed on a small island in the realm sea. The sea breeze blew at his robes. Looking up at the tribulation cloud, Night Sorrow wasn't nervous. Instead, he was excited. In the past, when his body broke through, the tribulation of thunder wouldn't descend. This time, it was because his body had improved. clothes fluttering, smiling at the tribulation cloud. How elegant! The heavenly concubine clapped her hands. Chapter 2276. Seventh Emperor Lightning Tribulation. Seventh Emperor Lightning Tribulation is the symbol of a top cultivator. After passing this tribulation, your father will be the fourth top cultivator of the celestial realm. Plus, he won't be the weakest, said the heavenly concubine. Emperor Tribulation. Many people didn't know about this level. Yi Xiaoluo had only heard about it. Those who weren't Emperor Tribulation cultivators didn't know what it meant. On the other hand, Lin Piaomiao was so excited that her face turned red. In the past, only the 3 giants of the celestial realm were above the 7th Emperor Tribulation. If Night Sorrow passed the tribulation, he would stand at this height. After circulating his energy, Night Sorrow exhaled. Then, his avatar left his body and stood outside the range of the lightning tribulation. Then, his original body sat down cross-legged. What is he doing? Sikongchu turned to the heavenly concubine and asked anxiously. He's using the tribulation energy to refine his body. He did this during the 6th Emperor Tribulation. Don't worry, he has absolute confidence. Otherwise, he wouldn't do this, said the heavenly concubine. Last time, when Night Sorrow was undergoing tribulation, she was there, so she knew about Night Sorrow's situation. Night Sorrow had indeed planned to do this. He had been in seclusion for a long time. His body's energy had increased, but it was still flawed. If he could undergo tribulation, it would help settle down. While everyone was talking, the tribulation clouds rolled and an explosion sounded. A black lightning bolt struck towards Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow waved his left hand and space-time rules appeared. He slowed down the speed of the tribulation. Then his body flashed 3 times and 3 light circles appeared around Night Sorrow's body. The 1,000-world defense body has reached 3 realms. This talent is really amazing. The heavenly concubine was shocked. She knew what the 3 light circles around Night Sorrow were. They were 3 Sumer worlds. After the lightning was slowed down by space-time rules, it came into contact with Night Sorrow's Sumer worlds. After being blocked by the 3 Sumer worlds, only a third of the lightning tribulation's energy actually hit Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow didn't attack. He allowed the lightning to enter his body and travel through his body. He controlled the energy in his body to resist the lightning, and in the process, he cleaned up the flaws in his energy. Night Sorrow's body contained a terrifying amount of energy. It only took a few waves of impact to melt the first lightning tribulation. After dissolving the lightning energy, Night Sorrow folded his arms and pressed them in front of him. Then he exhaled a mouthful of black gas. That was the turbid gas left behind by the lightning tribulation energy and the impurities in his body. When the second lightning tribulation descended, Night Sorrow did not retaliate. Instead, he used his Dao domain and 1,000 realms defense to affect the lightning tribulation. Then he continued to endure the lightning tribulation, refining it and tempering his body at the same time. The memory crystal ball in the heavenly concubine's left hand was lit up. She wanted to record this historic moment because no one could transcend a tribulation like this. The memory crystal ball represented history in the future. It was a witness to history. The lightning tribulation was different from what the heavenly concubine knew. When she transcended the tribulation of the 7 kings, she withstood 9 lightning tribulations. After each lightning tribulation, there would be a break. However, Night Sorrow's was not like that. Night Sorrow's lightning tribulation did not have a break. It came one after another. After the 9th lightning tribulation, there was a break. Then there were 9 lightning tribulations. Although each lightning tribulation's power was a little weaker than when she transcended it, the number was terrifying. The power is weaker, but the number is ridiculous, the heavenly concubine muttered. 9 lightning tribulations formed a wave that kept attacking Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had used up a lot of energy, but he relied on refining the lightning tribulation energy to replenish himself. He could still withstand it. After the 6th wave of lightning tribulation, the lightning tribulation stopped. The tribulation cloud spun above the realm sea, brewing. Night sorrow, be careful. 7 is the realm point. You're also a tribulation of the 7 kings. This might be a fierce wave, the heavenly concubine shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow turned his head and smiled at the heavenly concubine. He knew the next wave of lightning tribulation would be fiercer than the previous ones. The lightning tribulation brewed for a while. Then, the tribulation clouds exploded. 9 lightning tribulations whizzed down and struck at Night Sorrow. What is your family doing? Are you trying to kill me? The heavenly concubine was about to curse, but when she saw the Night Sorrow Jr. next to her, she stopped. However, she was still very emotional. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He expected this wave of lightning tribulation to be very strong, but he didn't expect it to be 9 lightning tribulations at the same time. Spatial rend, spatial rend. Yi Shang unleashed several spatial rends in succession, creating several spatial rifts that blocked the path of the lightning tribulation. Then, with the help of the human Tao's sacred scripture, the Book of Taoism, and the human emperor's seal, Yi Shang's primordial Tao domain expanded, affecting and melting the power of the lightning tribulation. It was difficult for him to withstand 9 lightning tribulations at the same time. Although he wouldn't be destroyed, he would be injured. He didn't know what would happen next. Night Sorrow wouldn't allow himself to be injured so easily. Night Sorrow used all his strength to block and defend. The speed and power of the 9 lightning tribulations decreased by half. Then, Night Sorrow used his left fist to meet the lightning tribulations. The lightning tribulations entered Night Sorrow's body. After the lightning tribulations entered his body, Night Sorrow realized something was wrong. 5 of the lightning tribulations entered his divine sea, and 4 entered his body. The ribbon binding Yi Shang's hair broke. His hair fluttered and fell on his shoulders. Then Yi Shang sat on the ground and used his virtuous Tao body and soul power to resist the destruction of the thunder energy invading his body. The energy of the 9 lightning tribulations was too violent. The impact made Night Sorrow's soul unstable. Night Sorrow didn't spit out a mouthful of blood. He didn't want his family to worry. In Night Sorrow's divine sea, the crescent blade of the soul destroyer danced quickly. It killed the lightning tribulations. The primordial Tao domain and reincarnation Tao domain in his body kept clashing with the lightning tribulations. Father is in danger. Yi Qingyan's face was full of worry. This is your father's path. No one can interfere. Whoever enters the lightning tribulations will die. The heavenly concubine grabbed Yi Qingyan's shoulder. She was worried that Yi Qingyan would act recklessly. Lin Ethereal released her Tao domain and covered the children of the Yi family. Like the heavenly concubine, she was also worried that someone would act recklessly. Night Sorrow's clone moved. It held the blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear and stood in front of his original body. His original body didn't have much combat power. If there was a tribulation, his clone would have to deal with it. The tribulation clouds spun in the sky, but no lightning tribulations came down. Night Sorrow's original body used all his strength to resist the lightning tribulations that entered his divine sea and body. An hour passed. Night Sorrow refined the lightning tribulations in his body. The 5 lightning tribulations in his divine sea were still fighting with the soul destroyer / After the lightning tribulations dissipated, the energy entered Night Sorrow's nascent soul. This energy didn't harm Night Sorrow's nascent soul. Instead, it covered Night Sorrow's nascent soul with a layer of purple lightning. No lightning tribulations came down. Night Sorrow continued to refine the lightning tribulations energy. Here. Chapter 2277. Night Sorrow refined the energy of the 9 lightning bolts that entered his body and resolved the threat of the lightning bolts. The heavenly Tao judged that Night Sorrow had passed the 7th Emperor Tribulation. Therefore, the tribulation clouds retreated and the heavenly Tao rewarded him. Golden light filled the sky. Under the purposeful display of the 9 regions' world's origin, the golden light and the auspicious clouds could be seen everywhere in the 9 regions' world. The auspicious clouds slowly descended and disappeared into Night Sorrow's body. After collecting the energy of the auspicious clouds, Night Sorrow stood up and tidied his robe. Then, the Taoist rhyme on his robe circulated. Suddenly, his body changed and became more than 100 feet tall. Then, his left arm hooked and collected all the energy around the auspicious clouds into his body. He used the leakless true body to lock it in. After collecting the energy, Night Sorrow's body returned to its original state. Then, his doppelganger entered his body and sat on the ground to cultivate. He had just leveled up and needed to stabilize his realm and cultivation base. He succeeded. That's too scary. Even the 8th Emperor Tribulation and 9th Emperor Tribulation weren't this terrifying, said the heavenly concubine. Then we'll wait to celebrate for father. Yi Qingyan and Yi Shaolei were excited. Just wait. Your father won't end this meditation without a year and a half, said the heavenly concubine with a smile. Said the heavenly concubine with a smile. When she went through the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it took her more than 2 years to stabilize her cultivation level. Even though Yi Shang's body went through the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it still took him a while to sense the changes in his body. It's only a year. Then we'll just wait. Father has succeeded in passing the tribulation. This is a joyous occasion. We must celebrate with a grand ceremony, said Yi Shaolei with a smile. Sect Elder Lin, bring the others back. I'll stay here and guard him for a while, said the heavenly concubine to Lin Piaomiao. All right. Then, I'll have to trouble you, heavenly concubine. Lin Piaomiao nodded. There was only Night Sorrow's small island here, there was no other place to stay. The others had to return. Night Sorrow felt the changes in his body after his advancement. As long as he circulated the energy in his body, his flesh and blood could crystallize. Every small crystal was filled with vigorous energy, and when needed, his body could shrink or expand. Furthermore, that was his actual body, not an energy illusion. His physical strength had also reached a level that he could not estimate. He could move mountains and fill seas with a wave of his hand. This was a change in his body. In addition, Night Sorrow could feel the baptism of the lightning tribulation on his soul, causing it to become much more condensed. The divine infant was already filled with Taoist rhymes, and it was covered in a lightning robe. At this level, it would not be a problem for his soul to leave his body and survive. This was the evolution of the life level. The soul had been sublimated. Although the soul realm had not reached the level of the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it already had the characteristics of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Night Sorrow had some lingering fear. This was because he had been cultivating in the soul-nurturing palace of the heaven-sealing Grand Hall. With the help of the soul-nurturing grass, his soul power had become much more condensed. Otherwise, if the 5 lightning bolts entered his divine sea, it would have been a huge crisis. While feeling the changes in his soul, Night Sorrow stabilized his body and cultivation. 1 month, 2 months, half a year, 1 year. The Yi clan came a few times, but Night Sorrow was always in seclusion. 2 years later, Yi Shang ended his cultivation and stabilized his body, cultivation base, and soul realm. Congratulations! You are finally standing at the pinnacle of the cultivators. The heavenly concubine smiled and cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Others might not know about Night Sorrow's situation, but she knew. She knew that whether it was Night Sorrow's original body or his clone, it would not be a problem for him to fight against the tribulation of the 9 emperors. If the other party did not have any special life-saving methods, they would be killed. Even when facing a divine soul unity realm expert, Night Sorrow still had the ability to protect himself. It was very difficult for top-notch cultivators to complete a kill. Even if they could defeat the other party, they would not be able to control the soul body and escape. However, this rule did not apply to Night Sorrow. This was because Night Sorrow had the fire of virtue. He had the advantage of trapping and killing the soul body that others did not have. It's still early. You can't say this. Night Sorrow flashed and stood beside the heavenly concubine. Let's not talk about what level of cultivators you can kill. At the very least, there are very few cultivators who can kill you and severely injure you. The heavenly concubine said. She felt that Night Sorrow beside her was like a small sun. He was emitting an astonishing energy aura. The energy around his body was changing. Everything revolved around Night Sorrow. There is always someone stronger. I still have to work hard. However, I will not go into seclusion for the time being. Night Sorrow said, "You have a good mentality. You indeed cannot go into seclusion anymore. What you need is to relax and settle down. Use your body to drive your realm. Your true chi cultivation and realm will soon enter the tribulation of the 7 emperors." The heavenly concubine nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had a bright path ahead of him. The tribulation of the 8 emperors did not have any bottlenecks. The tribulation of the 9 emperors was a bottleneck. With Night Sorrow's current strength, he would be invincible once he entered the tribulation of the 8 emperors. "I need time. I can't rush it." Night Sorrow smiled. He was in a good mood because he had finally taken an important step. "Let's go home. Everyone must be waiting anxiously." The heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and used the 1,000 Realms defense body. Energy wrapped around the heavenly concubine and they flew. Rather than flying, Night Sorrow was more like teleportation. As the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow could control the energy of the 9 regions world. His affinity with energy was unparalleled. He was more than 10 times faster than a tribulation of the 7 emperors. In a moment, Night Sorrow arrived at the 9 regions world. "Greetings, Realm Lord." Tai Shu Yen and the others who were in the 9 regions world cupped their hands and greeted Night Sorrow. "There's no need to be so courteous. Later, all of you will arrive at the city in the sky. I have to celebrate my breakthrough. Grandpa is coming too. I'll accompany him for a few drinks." Night Sorrow said to the group. He also mentioned to Yi Linghuan that Yi Linghuan had put in a lot of effort for him. Night Moon's dynasty came out early because he didn't want anything to happen to him. These were all in Night Sorrow's heart. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Tai Shu Yen and the others discussed. They felt that this matter should be reported to the 9 regions world. The 9 regions world should celebrate. Night Sorrow was the Realm Lord, and Night Sorrow's strength represented the stability of the 9 regions world. Almost up New D, chapter #upper Y. When Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky, the Yi clan became lively. "Night Sorrow, our daughter is in a hurry to get married. You've been in seclusion for 100 years. Yang Lei said with a smile. "Andy." Yi Qingyan was a little embarrassed by Yang Lei's words. "This is a good thing. Let's find a good day to do it. Zhan Yi, invite your parents over. We'll see how we can arrange it." Night Sorrow said to Zhan Yi. Zhan Yi bowed to Night Sorrow. He felt that facing Night Sorrow was very stressful. At this moment, it wasn't just Zhan Yi. Everyone felt the same way. "Night Sorrow, your aura is rippling. Others aren't used to it." Heavenly Concubine reminded Night Sorrow. Chapter 2278. I've only advanced for a short period of time, so I can't restrain the power of chi and blood in my body. Even if I use the leakless true body, it won't be enough. I still need some time, Night Sorrow explained. He knew what the Heavenly Concubine was talking about. The current situation was the result of him deliberately controlling it. Yes, the power in your body is too terrifying. In terms of body attainments, no one can compare to you. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's clone accompanied his family while his main body entered the clear sky pagoda to cultivate in the time acceleration. He had to quickly familiarize himself with the situation and restrain his aura. The current situation was indeed not good, and the people around him were not used to it. It was fine if their cultivation was high, but if their cultivation was low, they would have to bear a lot of pressure. The celebration banquet was mainly for the Yi family and the 9 regions world commander-in-chief's residence. Night Sorrow didn't like to be ostentatious, so he didn't feel the need to tell anyone about this. Zhan Tan and he came. Night Sorrow and his wives discussed with them about their children's marriage. In the end, they decided not to be extravagant and there was no need for it. In addition, the wedding would be held in the city in the sky. Zhan Tan meant that Zhan Yi and Yi Qingyan would live in the city in the sky from now on. Yi Qingyan would be used to it, and Zhan Yi's life would not change. He could even receive guidance from Night Sorrow and the Yi family. In the Yi family, Night Sorrow wasn't the only expert. Lin Piaomiao and Datura were both experts. Lin Piaomiao was infinitely close to the fourth Emperor Tribulation, while Datura had advanced to the Emperor realm not long ago. Night Sorrow didn't refuse. He felt that this was suitable. Zhan Tan didn't care much about the Qing Emperor's empire and didn't have a fixed place to live. Zhan Yi was fine with the city in the sky. During the banquet, Night Sorrow drank a few more cups with everyone. Everyone was really happy. After the banquet ended, Night Sorrow announced the wedding of his daughter, Yi Qingyan, and invited everyone to attend. After sending off the guests, he entered the cultivation state again. However, he still wanted to familiarize himself with his current realm. At the entrance of the space tunnel, the Golden Dragon King looked at Lin Piaomiao's doppelganger, who had just returned from patrolling the campsite with a face full of joy. Lin Piaomiao told him about Night Sorrow's tribulation. This was a good thing and there was no need to hide it. Besides, the elders of the Council of Elders were very concerned and worried about Night Sorrow's situation. I've come out of seclusion. My body has broken through the tribulation of the 7 emperors. This is great news. I have to tell King Yowu about this. The Golden Dragon King's face was full of excitement. Lin Piaomiao and the Golden Dragon King entered King Yowu's tent and told him about Night Sorrow. That's great. King Yowu was also very excited. He's using strength to prove his Tao. Now that his body has improved, his Zhen Qi cultivation base and his cultivation base will increase as well. But because he just broke through, he's not used to it yet. He's still cultivating, so he didn't come over. Uncle, Grand Elder, I hope you don't mind. Lin Piaomiao explained for Night Sorrow. What's there to mind? This is really good news. Let him cultivate in peace. The Grand Elder hurriedly said. He knew that this was a crucial time for Night Sorrow. The tribulation of the 7 emperors. He's only been cultivating for a few hundred years. Based on his current progress, it's more than enough for him to reach the tribulation of the 9 emperors in 10,000 years. Don't rush it, don't rush it, King Yowu said. In the time acceleration, Night Sorrow cultivated for more than half a year before he completely concealed his aura. It should be said that it was under the control of the leakless real body. It was also the time for Yi Qingyan's wedding. Night Sorrow didn't invite too many people. He invited the Qing Emperor and his wife, Qing Lin, and Qing Luan. Then he invited a group of senior brothers from the Medicine Valley and some people from the commander's residence. Night Moon City. The territory of the Night Moon dynasty was also decorated with lanterns and streamers. This was the wedding of the princess of the Night Moon. It was a joyous occasion for Night Moon. All the inns, restaurants, and tea houses spontaneously carried out activities for free. In other words, during the wedding, all the services in the territory of the Night Moon dynasty were free. Although they didn't invite too many people, the city in the sky was very lively. People from the Taishan Peak were all here. The higher-ups of the Night Moon dynasty were also here. The wedding ceremony wasn't complicated. It was just a ceremony for ordinary people. After bowing to heaven and earth, they bowed to their parents, and then the couple bowed to each other. Junior brother, you have to say something. Zhan Tan looked at Night Sorrow and said, There's nothing to say. I know Zhan. Night Sorrow said, Alright, if you won't say it, then I'll say it. Zhan Yi, you have to know that Qingyan is the flesh of your martial uncle's palm. He dotes on her very much. She can't suffer any grievances in our family. If you do anything wrong to Qingyan, I won't let you off. Remember, this isn't a joke. Zhan Tan stood up and said to Zhan, Father, please don't worry. Martial uncle and aunts, please don't worry. Zhan Yi can guarantee with my life that I won't let senior sister suffer any grievances. Zhan Yi bowed to Night Sorrow and the others. You're being too serious. Husband and wife should be tolerant of each other. This is a path for 2 people. Qingyan, you're not young anymore. There are some things that need to be considered. But remember, if you have any problems, you have to tell me. If you have any difficulties, I can help you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At the same time, he reminded Yi Qingyan. Are you a little reluctant? Yi looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. To be honest, I'm a little reluctant. Night Sorrow smiled. Father. Yi Qingyan walked forward and hugged Night Sorrow. Tears flowed down her face. She knew how much her father loved her. Don't cry. It's a big day. You're a wife now. You'll be a mother in the future. You can't be like this. Night Sorrow helped his daughter wipe away her tears. Father, please don't worry. Qingyan will learn how to be a good wife. Yi Qingyan nodded. After sending off the guests, Night Sorrow went to the lake below the city in the sky. Soon after, his wives came over as well. Do you still feel a little emotional? Qing Ji said with a smile. 3-inch yes. In the blink of an eye, the children have all grown up. Slowly, they've all started their own families. But all I see now is the children when they were young. Night Sorrow nodded. Yujun is living a happy life. Qingyan will too. Our children are a little stubborn. But in terms of logic, they're not lacking. The problems of the eldest and second eldest have been solved. Next, it's Xiaolei and Little Four. Yang Lei smiled. Life in the city in the sky calmed down. Night Sorrow left the 9 regions world and went to the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow's arrival made King Yowu and the Grand Elder very happy. They could also see that Night Sorrow's strength was different from before. They could feel it in terms of his aura. Did everything go well? King Yowu asked. Next, I just need to increase my cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down. Chapter 2279. How are things here? How many ancient cultivators have appeared? Night Sorrow asked. He had been worried about this for a long time. Many. In the past, because you cleaned it up, the area around the spatial passageway was empty. But as time passed, the ancient cultivators slowly infiltrated this area, King Yowu said. There's nothing we can do about it. There are too many ancient worlds in the ancient world group, and there are too many ancient cultivators. It's only natural for them to get close to the entrance of the space tunnel. This situation is getting more and more intense, said the Great Elder. This is also because the news was leaked. At that time, many cultivators from the Fire King city ran away. They understood the ancient world very well. After leaving the Fire King city, they would join other forces and spread the news. All the ancient cultivators were extremely interested in the word realm. Digging out a spatial tunnel was something they urgently wanted to do. It should be described with the words moved by the smell of blood. They should smell it, Night Sorrow said. He knew that the collision at the Fire King city had left some hidden dangers. These hidden dangers would cause the cultivators of the ancient world group to become more and more crazy. Don't worry. With this unparalleled great matrix, it won't be easy for them to break in. We'll just have to deal with whatever comes our way, King Yowu said. Is there any movement from the Demon Wing clan? Night Sorrow asked. For the 100 races of the celestial realm, there were currently 2 hidden dangers. One was the threat from the ancient world group, and the other was the Demon Wing clan. If either side launched an attack, it would be a big problem. No movement. They should know the situation we are facing now. There are 2 reasons why they haven't made a move. One is that they are not strong enough and need to endure. The other is that if the ancient world group cultivators attack the celestial realm, it won't be good for them. They all want the celestial realm, but there is one in the celestial realm. Naturally, they don't want to have another competitor, King Yowu said. Uncle Master is right. What they want most is to see us and the practitioners of the ancient world fight to the death. That way, they will have less resistance to invading the celestial realm. Night Sorrow nodded. He had never thought about this, but now that King Yawer had said it, he understood. After that, the Grand Elder brought up the matter of the sermon. Because Night Sorrow had gone into seclusion, the time of the sermon had been delayed. However, many cultivators were still waiting in the divine capital. Listening to the Rawang's sermon was something that all cultivators looked forward to. It would be of great help to them. I have no problem with that. Any time is fine, Night Sorrow said. Then make the arrangements. Your Excellency King Yowu, you go back and take charge of this matter. I'll stand guard here. If there's a situation, I'll inform you to come back. There's still time, said the Grand Elder. King Yo Wu hesitated because he was worried about the safety of this place. How about this? My original body will stay here to cultivate, and my clone will go to the divine capital. This way, there won't be any mistakes. Night Sorrow could see that King Yo Wu was worried. After listening to Night Sorrow's suggestion, King Yo Wu nodded. After chatting for a while, King Yo Wu left. Night Sorrow took out the Haotian pagoda, and his original body went in to cultivate. His body had advanced, so the next step would be to improve himself. He focused on the cultivation of his realm. As for the sermon, Night Sorrow didn't care too much. If he had the power of merit, he would have it. If he didn't, he would continue to work hard to obtain it. Benefiting the celestial realm was what he valued. His original body was stationed at the entrance of the space tunnel. Night Sorrow's clone went to the Tianhuang city and met with Tran Hung. The D***** version. First, seeing Night Sorrow's progress, Tran Hung was very happy. At this time, Night Sorrow had already achieved something. His achievement was different from others because Night Sorrow had merit and 2 high-level forbidden attributes. He had a high chance of surviving the god-destroying tribulation. Tran Hung and Night Sorrow drank a jar of wine and exchanged views on the current situation. Tran Hung said that there was no need to worry. With him here and the defense formation of the Tianhuang city, it was impossible for the demon-winged clan to launch a large-scale attack. As for the teleportation formation, it didn't matter. Once the teleportation formation was activated, he would be able to detect it. This way, the demon-winged clan would have no way to retreat after entering the celestial realm. Under such circumstances, the demon-winged clan wouldn't dare to cut off all means of retreat. Most importantly, the demon-winged clan had the demon imperial city. As for the entrance of the ancient world group, Night Sorrow had arranged an unparalleled formation. Even if a divine soul unity realm expert came, King Yo Wu would be able to suppress or even kill him. There was no need to worry too much. After hearing the City Lord's words, I feel a lot more at ease. It seems like the problem isn't that big. Night Sorrow said, currently it is stable. However, if the situation mentioned by the heavenly concubine happens, it will be worse. Let's take one step at a time. Your 9-domain world is stable. If it doesn't work, we will retreat. When you cultivate the tribulation of 9 emperors, even if the opponent is a half-step divine emperor, you will still be able to fight. They will have to retreat. Tran Hung said the worst-case scenario. Night Sorrow nodded. If that situation happened, no one would be able to do anything. However, Night Sorrow knew that the possibility was very high because the heavenly concubine wasn't someone who spoke without thinking. Night Sorrow stayed in the mansion in the heavenly desolate city for a few days. Lu Qi came. Seeing Night Sorrow, Lu Qi was shocked because no one told him about Night Sorrow's current realm. Not to mention fighting strength, Night Sorrow's realm was the same as his. Moreover, Night Sorrow's body cultivation was much stronger than his. Not to mention him, even Tran Hung and King Yo Wu's body cultivation were not as good as Night Sorrow's. Young City Lord, what happened to you? Lu Qi looked at Night Sorrow with astonishment. Night Sorrow smiled and said, 2 years ago, I had some achievements in body cultivation and reached the tribulation of the 7 emperors. I was busy stabilizing my realm and didn't come to see Elder 7. Lu Qi took out 2 jars of wine and said, you're not a good friend. I successfully passed the tribulation of the 6 emperors and you went to congratulate me. But you didn't say anything when you reached the tribulation of the 7 emperors. I have 2 jars of wine that have been stored for tens of thousands of years. Let's destroy them. Okay, then let's go to the divine capital to drink. There isn't anything good to drink here. Night Sorrow smiled and said, then let's go to my mansion. I'm here to tell the young city lord to give a sermon. Lu Qi said, his main purpose in coming back to the heavenly desolate city was to find Night Sorrow. After greeting Tran Hung, Night Sorrow and Lu Qi went to the divine capital and went to Lu Qi's mansion. When they arrived at Lu Qi's mansion, Night Sorrow was stunned because his son, Yi Xiaoxi, was in Lu Qi's mansion. In the garden of Lu Qi's mansion, Yi Xiaoluo was standing on a chair and talking loudly without caring about his image. Jing Yu, Lang Li, Kiki, and Lu Yu were all listening with smiles. When he noticed Night Sorrow's arrival, Yi Xiaoluo coughed awkwardly and said, "Father, we're fine. We were just joking." "Greetings, sir." Lu Yu, Jing Yu, Kiki, and Lang Li bowed to Night Sorrow. "You're welcome. You young people can continue. Pretend you didn't see me." Night Sorrow smiled and entered the mansion with Lu Qi. Chapter 2280. Why would he punish me? Are you saying that I'm talking nonsense? My father doesn't care about this. The most terrifying people in our family are my mother, my aunts, and my 2 sisters. As for my father, he doesn't even say anything harsh to us. Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. "I really don't understand your Yi family." Lang Li shook his head. "Brotherly, if you have time, you can come to our Yeyue villa as a guest. My parents also hope that us siblings can have like-minded friends. Besides, we are sworn brothers. We are all brothers who have gone through life and death together. It is only right that we meet my parents." Yi Xiaoluo said. "All right. We'll wait for Lord's Dao lecture. After the lecture, we'll follow you to the 9-domain world. It's said that it's difficult to enter the 9-domain world. Don't be weak. We'll be blocked from entering." Lang Li said. We have to believe in Xiaoluo. Xiaoluo is the young realm lord of the 9-domain world." The girl called Koku said with a smile. "Big sister Kiki, don't mention young realm lord. This title is not good. My big sister, big brother and little brother have never felt superior just because they are surnamed Yi. I also don't want to use the 3 words young realm lord for anything." Yi Xiaoluo looked at Kiki and said, "Xiaoluo, good job. Just based on what you said just now, I admire you. By the way, we really let your Xiaolu down last time. We brought him out to play and something happened. It's really embarrassing. He doesn't even play with us now." It's not that he doesn't want to play with us. He's very talented in cultivation and has been cultivating in seclusion all these years. Otherwise, he would be a little overlord in the ethereal imperial city. Yi Xiaoluo said. "We know Sect Elder Lin. She's Xiaoyou's mother. Xiaoluo, what about you?" July asked. "My mother isn't from the celestial realm. She's the dark ruler of the dark abyss in the primal chaos domain's reincarnation world. She's currently a member of the god-slaying team. She's also an emperor. Let me tell you, the reincarnation world's dark abyss is my territory." Yi Xiaoluo said while patting his chest. Jing Yu and company gave Yi Xiaoluo a thumbs up. They understood Yi Xiaoluo very well. Yi Xiaoluo was not bragging, but stating a fact. Night Sorrow and Lu Qi drank together. July and the others came to greet them. This was etiquette, and Jing Yu and the others understood the situation. "How have you guys been? Where have you been?" Night Sorrow asked after taking a sip of wine. "Over the years, we have been to the group of ancient worlds to do some scouting missions. This time, we know that Father is going to preach the Tao, so we came back." Yi Xiaoluo bowed. "Do what you can and don't take too many risks. Also, if you have nothing to do, go back home more often. Bring your brother over as a guest. I think your mother and aunt would welcome you," Night Sorrow said. "Father, don't worry. I will." Yi Xiaoluo nodded. "Father's battle avatar is not fixed at a fixed location. My main body is at the entrance of the ancient world group. If you have something to do, you can go there. Or, you can go to 9 Region Cities Heaven Ceiling Great Hall to see Father's other avatar." Night Sorrow reminded Yi Xiaoluo once again. He was worried that Yi Xiaoluo would encounter any difficulties in cultivation or life. Yi Xiaoluo bowed again and left with Lu Yu and the others. "There's a lot of pressure." After leaving the hall where Night Sorrow and Lu Qi were drinking, Lang Li exhaled. "It's okay now. When my father came out of seclusion 2 years ago, I couldn't stand being in front of him. These 2 years, my aura has been suppressed," Yi Xiaoluo said. Yi Shang stayed at Lu Qi's residence before it was time for the sermon. That day, Night Sorrow was drinking tea and talking to Yi Xiaoluo and the others when Yu came. "Uncle Yu, what's the matter?" Night Sorrow asked Yu to sit. Young City Lord is the successor of God's capital. He is also the person in charge. He should stay in the City Lord's residence. The city lord also has the same intention. True said. He was here to invite Night Sorrow. It's nothing. Tell my uncle that my son Xiaoluo is here. I will accompany them for a few more days, Night Sorrow said. I see. Then I will go back and tell the city lord. Shiryu bowed. Okay, I will send Uncle Shiryu off. Night Sorrow stood up and sent Shiryu out of Lu Qi's residence. Lang Li and Jing Yu looked at each other and nodded. They knew that Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaoluo didn't talk much, but he was very attentive. It could even be said that he didn't care about other people's opinions. He didn't go to the city lord's residence because he wanted to accompany his son. Normally, people in high positions wouldn't say or do this. Yi Shang also gave pointers to Lang Li's spear cultivation, as well as the others' cultivation. This allowed Lang Li and the others to know what it meant to be broad-minded, and what it meant to be respected. Head of Book 2 Why soon, it was time for the preaching. Night Sorrow went to the center of God's capital's Central Plaza and began his preaching. This time, Night Sorrow first talked about the path of cultivation. From the body to the soul, he dissected and explained little by little. He explained his views and analysis to the people listening. After talking about the problems of the cultivators, Night Sorrow talked about the composition and characteristics of the energy of heaven and earth. He talked about it in detail from the small details. Although Night Sorrow didn't cultivate the ordinary attributes, he had a thorough understanding of the advanced and supreme attributes. Naturally, he had a thorough understanding of the ordinary attributes. After talking about the laws of heaven, will, and the general trend, Night Sorrow also talked about the principles and reasons. He explained some of the principles and reasons that he had comprehended. Okay, that's all I know. I hope it will be helpful to all of you. After talking about Night Sorrow, he stood up and cupped his fist to everyone. Thank you, Human Emperor, for your preaching. Thank you for your kindness as a teacher. All the people listening bowed to Night Sorrow and thanked him. No need to be so polite. I hope that all of you will have success in your cultivation. I hope that the 100 races of the celestial realm will prosper. This is a great wish that must be fulfilled together. Night Sorrow said with a smile. After the preaching, Night Sorrow returned to Lu Qi's residence. He planned to chat with his son and then go to the ancient world's spatial passage. In an inconspicuous corner of the crowd of people listening to the preaching, a cultivator's eyes were a little hollow. His soul was being controlled. In his space treasure, Dark Feather was lost in thought. She couldn't understand why Night Sorrow, who was at the same level as her, had such a deep understanding of the Tao, to a level that she couldn't reach. In addition, Night Sorrow's aura also made her feel confused, because she had only felt that kind of aura from Mo Zhantian and Mo Yuten. While Dark Feather was lost in thought, the City Lord's residents took out Night Sorrow's battle memory crystal ball and activated it in the big square. Then, the elders of the City Lord's residence began to explain the key and essence of the battle. From the battle between Night Sorrow and the Demon Wing clan during the Emperor period, a series of battle images appeared. The battle shown in the memory crystal ball was so tragic. Chapter 2281. In the past, everyone was familiar with Night Sorrow's ability, but now they knew that this ability was not easy to come by. Night Sorrow's battle on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was a battle between a monarch and a sovereign. It was a battle of life and death. Night Sorrow's battle with the Black Dragon was a battle of life and death. Moreover, each battle was a battle of the weak against the strong. That Black Dragon was at the Divine Soul Unity realm, but it was suppressed to death by the human emperor's physical strength. That white-robed woman is the guardian of the 9 domains world. Her combat strength is also very strong. The two of them cooperate very well. A cultivator said, "Yes, I heard that they entered the Ancient World group and killed many experts. They even killed Divine Soul Unity Realm and Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. They are battle partners. Looking at their battle, we can see how well they work together. The memory crystal balls we saw were all recorded by a third person. There are probably many things that were not recorded. That elder was right. Success is not by chance." The other cultivators also followed up. Hearing this, Dark Feather sent a message to the cultivator under her control and left. She did not dare to show herself, so she controlled a cultivator to come to Shindu City. Originally, she came to inquire about the news and did not take Night Sorrow's lecture to heart. But after hearing it, Dark Feather was deeply moved. In Xiaotian did not speak. Originally, their eyes grew on top of their heads and looked down on Night Sorrow. But Night Sorrow used facts to slap their faces. Night Sorrow could kill Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, while they were ants in front of Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. This was the difference between heaven and earth. After Night Sorrow arrived at Lu Qi's residence, he chatted with Yi Xiaoluo for a while and reminded him to pay attention to his safety. Then he left Shindu City. Yi Xiaoluo, you're really lucky. I'm not saying this because of your father's achievements, but because of his patience. He's patient and meticulous enough. Moreover, he gave you enough space and care. Liu said, yes, I'm really very happy. This happiness is not because my father is the human emperor. There are some feelings that you won't understand. My father's initial goal was to make the family stable, to let us siblings have a happy and stable life. Yi Xiaoluo said in a low voice. Other than having many wives, His Majesty is perfect in every aspect, Kiki said. The person who said this is because he doesn't understand. There are many stories between my father and my mother as well as a few concubines. Marrying many wives is not even his subjective consciousness. He is loyal to love. As his son, I know this. If you say this in front of my mother and concubines, they will immediately fall out with you. In addition, our Yi family also has family rules. A man can only marry one wife, and the prerequisite for a woman to marry is to marry only one man. Father's love world is the only exception. Yi Xiaoluo said. If you don't understand, you don't have the right to speak. I apologize, Kiki said. It's nothing. Come to my house later, Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. The Yi family is the most powerful family in the 9 domains world. They are the most powerful family in the celestial realm. We must go and see for ourselves, Kiki said with a smile. All right, I'll bring you to see the beautiful city in the sky. I'll bring you to see the prosperous and harmonious Night Moon Empire, Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. Night Moon Empire? Lu Yu looked at Yi Xiaoluo in confusion. She had never heard of it before. The most powerful empire in the 9 domains world. Unlimited potential. Remember, the core members are surnamed Yi. Ha! Yi Xiaoluo said with a laugh. Based on their strength, we should have heard of it. Why haven't we heard anything? Lang Li said. Yi Xiaoluo shook his head. The members of the Yi family who left the Night Moon Empire to train did not mention their origins. It's hard for such a family not to be strong. I'm really interested, Lang Li said. Mo Yuqing returned to the Sky General Domain and came out of the space treasure. She held the memory crystal ball of the cultivator she controlled and looked at it in a daze. Captain, the situation is not good. The celestial realm has 3 giants. The 9 domain guardians are very strong, and so is Night Sorrow. Yin Xiaotian's expression was not good. It was difficult for the Demon Wing Clan Alliance to do anything in the current situation. The situation is not good. I've already reported this to the Divine Ancestor. The Divine Ancestor wants us to endure and let the races of the Celestial Realm and the ancient cultivators fight until both sides are injured, Mo Yuqing said. Yin Xiaotian did not say anything. He was greatly agitated. Night Sorrow's battle avatar stopped at the Night Moon Villa in the ethereal Imperial City. He stopped to wait. The heavenly concubine wanted to come out and fight with him. Night Sorrow agreed. The two decided to meet at the Night Moon Villa. After the heavenly concubine arrived at the Night Moon Villa, Night Sorrow took her to the Twilight Tea House. They went to the Moon Pavilion and introduced the heavenly concubine to Chen Chen. Chen Chen greets the heavenly concubine. Although Chen Chen did not interact much with people, he was well informed and knew about the heavenly concubine's situation. You're too polite. Night Sorrow mentioned you to me. In fact, the life you chose is the real life. The heavenly concubine said with a smile. It's rare that someone other than Night Sorrow understands me. In fact, in the eyes of many people as the Emperor's sworn brother, I'm not seeking to improve myself. This is the life I want, Qin Chen said with a smile. You don't have to care about what others think. Others walk the martial path while you walk the path of tea. There's nothing wrong with that. The meaning of life itself is different. The heavenly concubine said, Jin, I don't have any good gifts. Take this VIP card. Qin Chen took out a VIP card and handed it to the heavenly concubine. Zheng, first IP. After drinking tea, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrived at the spatial passage. After greeting King Yenwu, who had already returned, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered the ancient world. This time, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered not to kill, but to understand ancient cultivation and for personal experience. Grand Elder, it's fortunate that the heavenly concubine became a person of the 9 domains world. Her combat strength is far higher than Mo Zhantian and Mo Yuten. She's the strongest person of the Demon Wing clan. King Yenwu said, yes, her transformation is the main reason why the Demon Wing clan's strength has widened the gap between us and them. In addition, she's changed a lot. In the past, she was very vicious, but now she's much calmer. The Grand Elder said, in the past, she showed off her abilities. Now that she's hidden her sword, it's a great improvement. King Yenwu exhaled. After entering the spatial passage, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine flew toward the interior of the ancient world. Heavenly concubine, I want to ask you something. You're a cultivator born in the previous reincarnation. How much lifespan do you have left? Night Sorrow asked what he had always wanted to ask. Half an era. I was born later than Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian, so I still have half an era left. The heavenly concubine said, that's okay. I'm afraid you'll say it's not much. I'm afraid you'll say it's only thousands or tens of thousands of years. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 2282. I will. Night Sorrow said, I trust you more than I trust myself. Heavenly concubine said with a smile. Night Sorrow did not say anything, but he felt some pressure in his heart. Since ancient times, there had never been a successful god extermination tribulation. The difficulty was not ordinary. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine proceeded forward. When they approached the spatial passageway, Night Sorrow would clean up any ancient cultivators that threatened the safety of the spatial passageway. Once they were out of the range of the 100 zones, Night Sorrow did not do anything else. At this moment, in a big city in an ancient world filled with ice and snow, 2 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators from Fire King City were reporting to a white-haired man about the attack on Fire King City. Fire King City Lord and Ji Jiao are quite strong, but they were both defeated. The white-haired man in white robes pondered. Ji Jiao has fallen. This is certain. Fire King City Lord was heavily injured and we were powerless to save him. I think. The man with black scales on his forehead said. He was an elder of Fire King City and was called Qingjia. Qingjia, you and Ji Lu will stay in Ice King City. A realm that can produce Divine Soul Unity Realm experts is very impressive. We have to find it. One of them is at Divine Soul Unity Realm and the other is at Tribulation of 9 Emperors. They are nothing in front of us Profound Ice World cultivators. As long as we find it, we can fight our way in. The white-haired man in white robes said. The white-haired man in white robes was called Shenhua. He was the realm lord of this Profound Ice ancient world. Of course, he was the strongest cultivator in Profound Ice ancient world. Thank you, Lord Shenhua, for taking us in. We will do our best for Profound Ice ancient world. Qingjia and Ji Lu nodded. They had found a new place to stay. Profound Ice ancient world was stronger than Fire King City. There were 3 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators and many Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. There were many high-level cultivators in Profound Ice ancient world mainly because of the special situation in Profound Ice ancient world. There was a suitable place to undergo the tribulation. When the lightning tribulation descended, its power would be weakened. Of course, only the core members of the Profound Ice Bone Ring had the right to use it. Two Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine arrived at the Fire King City first. They discovered that the Fire King City was in ruins and there were still cultivators alive, but they were all low-level cultivators. This place has been abandoned. The cultivators here don't even have an emperor. They have probably gone to other factions. The news will spread very quickly. The main reason is that the spatial tunnel is too close to here. Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. This was the situation. In the future, the pressure at the spatial passageway would be great. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine walked around the ancient world group and explored one ancient world after another. Their goal was to explore, but they didn't let the ancient cultivators who were looking for trouble go. They killed them directly. Night Sorrow needed to fight to accumulate some experience. In the blink of an eye, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine had stayed in the ancient world chat group for 2 years. They had experienced countless battles, big and small. They had avoided some of the stronger factions. I really don't know where so many cultivators came from in this ancient world group. Night Sorrow had a headache because there were too many experts. It's not strange. The ancient world group was formed after many supreme worlds were destroyed. They have a long history and the surrounding realms are constantly growing. They are constantly plundering and improving. As for the lightning tribulation, they should have some methods that we don't know about. Heavenly Concubine said. The waters are deep. They have conflicts of interest with the realm cultivators. It's best to describe them as scared of being poor and crazy from being poor. Night Sorrow said. That's true. Heavenly Concubine smiled. Suddenly, Night Sorrow turned to look at Heavenly Concubine. We have to return. A large number of ancient cultivators have entered the 100 regions that I divided. Our men can't fight them head-on. What's going on? Heavenly Concubine didn't understand. Afterward, Yishang said that it was King Yo Wu who had awakened his true body and told him about the situation. A large group of ancient cultivators had entered the 100 districts. King Yo Wu went in to stop them, but he encountered 2 Soul Unity Realm cultivators with 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. He could only helplessly retreat. So you're saying that the secret of the spatial passageway can't be kept? Heavenly Concubine's smile disappeared because this was a huge crisis. Since they found our men in this region, they will know the location of the spatial passageway. We can't hide it. Night Sorrow shook his head. If it was other spatial passageways, they could use illusion arrays or other arrays to hide it. However, this spatial passageway couldn't. The aura of the celestial realm was different from the ancient world. The celestial realm was a supreme world. Although the world's origin had reincarnated, its origin energy was still very dense. It couldn't be stopped from seeping into the ancient world through the spatial passageway. Therefore, as long as ancient cultivators approached, they would find clues. You don't have to worry. We'll just defend. We're not afraid of fighting. Heavenly Concubine extended her left hand towards Night Sorrow. How am I not as heroic as you? You're right. We're not afraid of fighting. Night Sorrow laughed and extended his left hand to shake Heavenly Concubine's. After hearing the news, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine returned to the spatial passageway. A large number of ancient cultivators. After Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine entered the 100 zones, they discovered ancient cultivators approaching to investigate. Night Sorrow didn't have time to pay attention to this. He brought Heavenly Concubine to the spatial passageway and returned to the celestial realm before fusing with his main body. Martial Uncle, I'm back. Night Sorrow nodded towards King Yo Wu. Let's think of a countermeasure. Soon, we'll be fighting them in close combat, King Yo Wu said. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at the people at the spatial passageway. They were already preparing for battle. King Yo Wu, Grand Elder, Heavenly Concubine, Lin Piaomiao, the Divine Beast Clan's clan leader, Jun Xuanji, Long Jin, Zhuodong, and the others all came to the command tent. Night Sorrow, you speak. King Yo Wu nodded towards Night Sorrow. That's fine. Then I'll talk about the current situation. Night Sorrow explained the situation he had discovered and his own prediction of the situation. War is inevitable. Now, We just need to wait for the young city lord, Lord King Yowu, and the Grand Elder to give orders, Golden Dragon King said. War is coming. The other side is very strong. We won't fight head-on. Instead, we'll rely on people and people to fight them. We'll use our limited battle power to display unlimited battle power, Night Sorrow said. The time is not on our side. We have the advantage of formations and people. Night Sorrow, you'll be in charge of the upcoming battle, King Yowu said. Chapter 2283. Night Sorrow, are we going to practice this combined attack formation? Blood Kirin King looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes. Our soldiers can't fight the enemy head-on in the early stages. That would be a huge loss. It's not wise to fight the enemy head-on. We have to wear down the enemy's combat power. The enemy is strong. Under such circumstances, we have to use the combined attack formation if we want to maximize our combat power, Night Sorrow said. That's right. We have to bear the pressure. The soldiers are young and have a bright future. Blood Kirin King was a virtuous and auspicious beast. He had the same thoughts as Night Sorrow. Then we'll practice the combined attack formation. When the time comes, we'll capture one and kill one. That way, we can wear down the enemy's combat power, King Yowu said. Then let's hurry up. Whose spatial treasure can accelerate time by more than 10 times? Mine is close to 40 times, Huang Ling said. Then, everyone talked about their spatial treasures. In the end, no one had a higher spatial treasure than Night Sorrow's Clear Sky Pagoda. This was because the Clear Sky Pagoda was now a heavenly artifact, origin artifact, and virtuous artifact. It could accelerate time by almost 60 times. In addition, Night Sorrow had gained everyone's trust. Everyone decided to use Night Sorrow's Clear Sky Pagoda to practice the combined attack formation. Night Sorrow's main body was in charge of the spatial passage. His doppelganger brought King Yowu and the others into the Clear Sky Pagoda to study the combined attack formation. Zero na little Saiknet. When they were studying the combined attack formation, everyone introduced their absolute skills and strengths to increase the compatibility. When they heard and tested the defensive power of Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defense body, King Yowu and the others were shocked. Among everyone present, including him, Night Sorrow's defensive power was not as strong as his. Night Sorrow, your defensive power is the strongest. Your precept domain's suppression power is also the strongest. When we attack, you'll focus on defense and control. King Yowu and I will focus on offense. The others will distract the enemy, Heavenly Concubine said. Better. New fastest faster Z upper ES. Alright, I agree with Heavenly Concubine's opinion. King Yowu nodded. The Heavenly Concubine was the protector of the 9 regions world. King Yowu, the Grand Elder, and the current Taishang elders all called her protectors. Sect Elder Duan, what do you think? The Heavenly Concubine asked the Grand Elder. Back in the Demon Wing clan, everyone called him Old Ghost Duan. Now, the Heavenly Concubine called him Grand Elder Duan. The other leaders of the Divine Beast clans also called him Grand Elder Duan. Currently, the Grand Elder of the Council of Elders was Lin Piaomiao. Protector Heavenly Concubine's opinion is very suitable. I support it. Sect Elder Duan nodded. Then, everyone began to practice the joint attack technique. Everyone present, with the exception of Yi Shang, had years of experience. Even if they weren't array grandmasters, they had at least dabbled in array formations, so it wasn't difficult for them to practice. 5 days in the real world, but everyone had been cultivating for close to a year. They had become very familiar with the joint attack formation. Everyone could adapt to the various positions of the formation, and they could coordinate with each other at will. 09 Little, say, Net. Night Sorrow also told everyone that there wasn't much time left. The other party's troops had already arrived at several areas near the entrance of the space channel and could arrive at any time. Night Sorrow also told the scouts to avoid the ancient cultivators and retreat safely. Once they encountered the ancient cultivators, they would be killed. His doppelganger was alive, so he couldn't let anything happen to him. Night Sorrow took the Great Demon King, Pu Luo, Zhuodong, and Long Jin to an illusory formation outside the unparalleled formation and told everyone how to use the formation. Everyone had to stay in the illusory formation during normal times. In this way, even if someone entered the unparalleled formation, no matter how powerful their soul power was, they wouldn't discover anything. In this way, they could carry out the crucial group battle at any time. Now, the Great Demon King led the Heaven Wasteland Army, Pu Luo led the elites of the Humanitarian League, Zhuodong led the First Army, and Long Jin led the God-slaying team. After explaining everything, Night Sorrow's doppelganger entered the space channel, tore the space, and released the Haotian Pagoda. His doppelganger entered the Haotian Pagoda. His doppelganger was going to be the eyes, so he could know the situation after the other party arrived. Well, the consumption is negligible. They won't discover me if they don't enter the void turbulence, Night Sorrow said. Everyone knew his plan. They won't have nothing better to do. They'll tear the space and see what's going on, the heavenly concubine said. On this day, Night Sorrow and the others finished practicing the combined attack formation. Just one day later, the practitioners of the Ancient World group arrived. They were led by Xianhua. Xianhua, the realm lord of the ancient ice world, brought a brother, several Tribulation 9 Emperors cultivators, an army, and Qingjia. It should be somewhere between the Supreme World and the Sub-Supreme World. Very good, this is a real piece of fat meat. There are many companion realms to the Supreme World, and even if the Supreme World's lifespan is depleted, there are still thousands of reincarnations in the Sub-Supreme World. But that's not important. What's important is the abundant resources. There are endless possibilities for us. Xianhua's eyes were full of excitement. He needed resources too much. Senior brother, we still have half an era of lifespan. With the resources, we have hope to survive the god-slaying tribulation. The man beside Xianhua said. He was Xianhua's junior brother, Xiancheng, who was at the syncretic soul realm. He was the second most powerful person in the ancient ice world. Yes, but we have to be careful. There used to be the aura of practitioners here. They must be on guard. Men, go in and have a look, Xianhua ordered. Night Sorrow's body flashed and arrived near the spatial tunnel. The moment Xianhua's subordinate, a Tribulation 3 Emperor's cultivator, entered the celestial realm, Night Sorrow suppressed him with his Merit's taboo Dao domain. Then he used the primordial annihilation slash and blasted the head of this unprepared ancient cultivator, directly destroying his head and spirit sea. After killing this ancient cultivator, Night Sorrow returned to the Dao unparalleled great array. The timing is very good. Very good, Jun Xuanji said. Good? Good. My doppelganger could hear their conversation. Their cultivation civilization is very wide, but they don't have doppelganger techniques. Doppelganger techniques are the specialty of the 100 races of the celestial realm. They cultivate doppelganger, so they kill whoever comes in. They won't know what's going on here, Night Sorrow said. After waiting for a while, Xianhua raised his eyebrows. If he didn't run to eat alone, then he's dead. That's possible. Go in and check. If you dare to act alone and I catch you, I will make you wish you were dead. No matter how big your opponent's world is, you won't be able to escape my pursuit. Xiancheng chose a person and gave him a warning before letting him enter the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow's body seized the opportunity and attacked again, completing another killing move. Young City Lord, what's the situation with them? Blood Kirin King looked at Night Sorrow, who had returned to the array, and asked. Chapter 2284. No news again? Xianhua and Xiancheng looked at each other. Seems like there's something going on. This world won't run away. Let's set up camp first. Xianhua's face turned cold. His two subordinates didn't respond. Xianhua knew that there was something wrong with the space passage. He didn't act rashly but let his men set up camp first. The other party didn't attack directly. Night Sorrow continued to observe Xianhua's team. The men Xianhua brought were strong. There were 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm experts. At this level, the Celestial Realm had no disadvantage. However, There was only one tribulation of 9 emperors cultivator in the celestial realm. The other party had 5 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators. The difference was huge. The patriarch of the divine beast clan hadn't reached the high-level tribulation of 9 emperors. Even with the help of the formation, the difference was obvious. Besides, the other party also had a few tribulation of 7 emperors cultivators. They couldn't fight head-on. Night Sorrow also told King Yawu and the others about the situation. "We can't fight. If we go out, we'll be surrounded. We'll stay here and block with the formation," said King Yawu. Night Sorrow nodded. He thought so too. If they went out to fight and were surrounded, it would be easy to suffer losses. The cultivators of the 100 clans in the celestial realm couldn't afford to die. One loss was one loss, and more ancient cultivators would gather. "Then we'll fight with silence. As long as they come in, we'll kill them," said Heavenly Concubine. After Xian Hua set up camp, he called out a subordinate of tribulation of 7 emperors cultivator. "Sector Lord." The cultivator from the tribulation of the 7 emperors bowed. "Give me a piece of your soul crystal and then go in. Be careful when you go out of the space tunnel. If you can't do it, just retreat. I won't blame you if you retreat." Xian Hua said to the subordinate named Li Xiong. "I understand." Li Xiong took out a crystal, injected his soul power, and handed it to Xian Hua. He knew that it was risky to be a pawn, but he couldn't ignore the order. If he didn't accept the order, he would be killed immediately, let alone bear the risk. "Uncle Master, Heavenly Concubine, a Tribulation 7 Emperor's cultivator from the other side will be coming soon. This one will be more cautious than the previous 2. I will ambush them at the entrance of the space tunnel. I will cut off their retreat and then kill them." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he flashed out of the unparalleled formation. Then he tore the space and entered the space passage from the space turbulence. He was ready to cut off Li Xiong's retreat. Night Sorrow's peerless array formation covered the area around the spatial passageway, but there was no array formation around the spatial passageway. This was because the spatial passageway was where the 2 worlds intersected. If there was an energy shockwave, the array formation's energy would not be able to cover it. King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine had weapons in their hands and were ready. It was very difficult to kill the tribulation of the 7 emperors in an instant, so they planned to attack together and end the battle quickly. Because there was no news of the 2 people in front, Li Xiong was very cautious. He moved forward bit by bit. The spatial passageway was less than 100 feet away. He walked for a while, mainly because there was an energy shockwave from the 2 worlds. His soul power couldn't penetrate it. It was the same for Night Sorrow, who was in the spatial turbulence. His soul power could only cover a few meters in front of him, but that was enough for him. He could confirm whether Li Xiong had gone over or not. As long as Li Xiong went over, he would cut off his path of retreat, not giving Li Xiong a chance to retreat. Li Xiong was very slow because this was related to his life. When he arrived in front of Night Sorrow, he took 15 minutes. After detecting Li Xiong's past, Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. $B%. When Li Xiong stood at the entrance of the spatial passageway and looked outside, Night Sorrow moved. His left hand tore the space, and then he attacked with the Samsara halberd. Beginning of destruction / Night Sorrow attacked with the beginning of destruction / Realizing that there was an attack behind him, Li Xiong turned around and slashed with his saber. Bang! With a muffled sound, Li Xiong's body was sent flying. His true chi energy was higher than Night Sorrow's by a notch. After being melted by the beginning attribute, he was at a disadvantage. In terms of strength, the gap between the 2 was even bigger. Li Xiong couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's attack at all. Li Xiong's body was sent flying, and half of the saber in his hand was shattered. It was annihilated by the Samsara halberd. At this moment, King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine made their moves. Both of them were at the Divine Soul Unification Realm and could even be said to be experts at the Divine Soul Unification Realm. Before Li Xiong could react, his body was struck by a spear and a sword. His physical body was directly destroyed. When Li Xiong's soul body was about to escape, Night Sorrow's human emperor's seal appeared. The fire of merit wrapped around his soul body, and then the samsara halberd pierced into his soul body. King Yo-woo followed up with another strike, and Li Xiong's soul body was annihilated. In 2 breaths, Li Xiong was completely annihilated. At the entrance of the spatial passage, Xianhua looked at the darkened soul crystal in his hand and exhaled. He then looked at the entrance of the spatial passage. "Senior brother, it seems like the first 2 who entered didn't escape. They are dead," said Xiancheng. "Let's stabilize first. We don't know what's going on over there. It seems like they are prepared for war. They can destroy the Fire King city, so they aren't weak. The most important thing is that we don't know them well. If we act rashly, we will be in danger." Xianhua shook his head. He wasn't a brainless person. Li Xiong, who was a Tribulation 7 emperors, went in cautiously. He even told him to retreat if he couldn't do it. Even so, he still died in a moment. This made him know that things weren't simple, and his vigilance increased again. Xianqing nodded. This situation also made him understand that the world they were about to enter was different from the previous world domains. It was a tough bone to chew. The other party had set up camp. Night Sorrow had also explained the situation to King Yo-woo and the others. It was tiring to be highly focused while waiting for the battle. "Not bad. We killed 3 Tribulation Emperors," said Lin Yuanjun, the leader of the White Tiger race, who didn't speak much. "It won't be so easy after this. That guy can command so many experts. He won't be a fool. They will also think of countermeasures." Night Sorrow shook his head. After leading his subordinates to set up camp, Xianhua called someone over and asked him to return to the ancient ice world. He asked the 3 realm lords to bring the remaining experts over. He knew that if they succeeded this time, the benefits would be great. However, the difficulty would also be relatively high. Therefore, he planned to use all the strength of the ancient ice world to attack the celestial realm. Hearing Xianhua's arrangement, Night Sorrow knew that the situation was getting worse. The other party's troops would get stronger and stronger. However, they couldn't afford to fight head-on now. Night Sorrow's doppelganger investigated the situation while his original body was deep in thought. At this time, no one disturbed Night Sorrow. After thinking for a while, he couldn't think of any good ideas. Night Sorrow sighed. Chapter 2285. This won't do. There's a huge problem in this. The other side has 2 divine soul unity realm cultivators. This will restrict martial uncle and protector heavenly concubine. They have 5 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators. At this level, we're at an absolute disadvantage. We can't fight them head-on. Also, if my doppelganger goes out, it'll be impossible for us to investigate because Realm Master Xian Bing will be watching the entrance of the space tunnel. Even the slightest energy fluctuation can't be hidden from her. If we're exposed, it'll be impossible to sneak in and out, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was able to stay in the turbulent space without being discovered. If it were someone else, they wouldn't be able to control their aura perfectly. They would be discovered if they leaked even a little bit. However, he had the leakless true body and the Thousand Realms defensive body to prevent his aura from leaking out. Lin Yuanjun nodded. He understood the difference between tribulation of 5 emperors and 6 emperors cultivators and high-level tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators. What should we do next? They'll get more and more people. Sect Elder Duan was a little worried. All we can do now is defend. With a peerless great formation, they won't have any advantage even if they enter. If they dare to enter the formation, we'll kill them. In addition, there's an area with a radius of 300 meters that the formation can't cover. Once they appear, we'll attack them forcefully and blast them into the formation's range to kill them, Night Sorrow said. That's all we can do. Don't feel pressured. This is the best we can do. It's not our problem if we can't defend it. We can only say that man proposes and God disposes, said King Yo-woo. Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, he had thought of everything he could think of. Night Sorrow, try not to let the First Army and the God-slaying team participate in the battle. They have great potential, but it's a fact that they haven't cultivated for long. With them around, even if something happens to the celestial realm, They'll have no problem regaining their lost land after 1 or 2 eras or 3 or 4 eras, King Yawu said. Knight Sorrow nodded. This was a battle between high-level cultivators. The First Army and the God-slaying team couldn't interfere. In addition, Yi Shang understood this principle well. If the people remained, the land would be lost. If the people remained, the people and the land would be lost. Xian Hua and Xian Qing kept looking at the entrance of the space tunnel. He asked his subordinates to go back to the ancient ice world and bring more people here. Xuanqing, what do you think the other party can do over there? Xian Hua looked at Xian Qing and asked. It can make a tribulation of the 7 sovereigns fall in an instant? It should be a joint attack. Li Xiong's defense is not good, and he still has shortcomings. His life-saving ability is not enough. Xian Qing thought for a moment and said, You're right, Ji Xiong. Xian Hua shouted behind him. A cultivator of the tribulation of 9 emperors came to Xian Hua's side and bowed to him. What can I do for you, milord? Knight Sorrow sensed that this tribulation of 9 emperors cultivator named Ji Xiong was tall and sturdy, and that his body was constantly surrounded by rays of light. He knew that his physical defense had reached a certain level. K** edition. First release *M. Li Xiong has fallen, but his cultivation is low and his defense is not enough. You go in and take a look. If this attack is successful, Xian Hua will give you the first credit, Xian Hua said. Ji Xiong looked at Xian Hua and was stunned for a moment. Then he nodded. He was a little dissatisfied. 3 cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors had fallen one after another. It was very risky. It could be said that he was used as cannon fodder by Xian Hua. However, although he was dissatisfied, Ji Xiong still had to carry out Xian Hua's order. If he didn't, he might die. He knew Xian Hua's temper and nature too well. After accepting the mission, Ji Xiong left the soul crystal and walked toward the entrance of the space tunnel. After Knight Sorrow told King Yawu and the others about the situation, he lurked in the void turbulence at the entrance of the space tunnel again. He was ready to cut off Ji Xiong's escape route. He wouldn't let the people who came and go back. He would report the situation here to Xian Hua. Ji Xiong was very cautious. He probed forward bit by bit, but the result was no different from Li Xiong's. When he came out of the space tunnel, he was attacked violently by Knight Sorrow, who appeared behind him. 2 shots. Knight Sorrow blasted Ji Xiong into the unparalleled Great Formation with 2 shots. Then, King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine took over and destroyed Ji Xiong's body. Knight Sorrow used the fire of virtue to restrict Ji Xiong's soul from escaping and then killed it. Seeing the soul crystal in his hand turn dark, Xian Hua squeezed his hand and crushed the soul crystal. Senior brother, what's going on? How strong is the other party to be able to kill Ji Xiong in such a short time? Even his soul can't come back? Xian Qing asked in surprise. We can't send people to investigate for now. Sending more people will just be sending them to their deaths. They should have some tricks that we don't know about. Xian Hua knew that the situation was very complicated. It wasn't as simple as he thought. After listening to Xian Hua and Xian Cheng's conversation, Knight Sorrow knew that they would enter a stable phase of confrontation. Xian Hua didn't want to take risks himself, but he also didn't want his subordinates to keep sending themselves to their deaths. They won't be investigating for a while. In the celestial realm, Knight Sorrow's original body said, they won't be investigating. If they continue investigating, our battle results will expand infinitely. Slowly, our strength will be evened out, Huang Ling said. Do you think they are stupid? They have already sent 4 people to their deaths, and they still want to send more? Heavenly Astral Monarch said with a smile. Can I just think about it? Huang Ling looked at her husband with dissatisfaction. Listening to their conversation, they are from the ancient profound ice realm. The leader is the ancient profound ice realm's realm lord, Xian Hua. The other divine soul unity realm cultivator is his junior brother, Xian Cheng. Now, they have sent people back to mobilize more people, Knight Sorrow said. The situation is getting worse. Sect Elder Duan shook his head. As long as the unparalleled Great Array is effective, it doesn't matter if they increase their manpower or not. When they come in, we will bombard the unparalleled Great Array and bring their people into the Great Array. At that time, they will still be at our mercy, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the empty area near the entrance of the passage. King Yawu and the others nodded. Night Sorrow saw the difficulty, but he also saw the essence of the matter. You did a good job as a scout. Now, we need to know ourselves as well as the enemy, White Tiger Patriarch said. Everyone understood that if there wasn't the right information, it would be difficult to stop Li Xiong and Ji Xiong if they wanted to run back. Night Sorrow was also very successful in cutting off the retreat path. He stopped the ancient cultivators from moving forward to investigate, so the ancient cultivators didn't dare to investigate casually. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was the scout, and his original body entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to continue cultivating. If there was a situation, his doppelganger's soul would shake, and his original body would immediately respond. King Yawu also made some arrangements. It was to block the entrance of the space passage. He arranged for people to set up a blockade. Apart from the current troops, anyone who approached without permission would be killed without mercy. He did this because he didn't want the Devil Wing clan spies, who were already deep in the celestial realm, to find out the real-time situation of the battle between the 100 clans and the ancient cultivators in the celestial realm. He was worried that the Devil Wing clan would take advantage of the situation and loot a burning house. Chapter 2286. The older generation of cultivators in the celestial realm had the awareness that they should have. The promising young people in the clan did not participate in the battle, as they were the hope of the future, just like the members of the First Army and the God-slaying team. However, some of the members who had exhausted their potential had joined the battle, as they knew that it was time to fight for the celestial realm. Night Sorrow did not know about these things, as they were all arranged by the Divine Beast clans. Because the human race, the Heaven Wasteland Army, and the Humanitarian League had all come, they also had to contribute. Xian Hua calmed down. He knew that the opposite world could not run away. If there was no plan and no proper arrangement of attack, then the losses would continue. This was not a situation that he wanted to see. The situation became a stable stalemate. Night Sorrow wanted to fight his way out, but he did not have the strength. Xian Hua wanted to fight his way in, but he did not have the confidence. This was the root cause of the stalemate. The brothel of the 3 realms of the ancient ice world had arrived with more than 20 people, all of whom were Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Although the people had arrived, Xian Hua did not attack directly. Instead, he gathered the higher-ups of the ancient ice world. Second brother, third brother, after the incident in the Fire King City, many cultivators joined the new forces just like Green Armor and Ji Lu. Their cultivation and level are not high, but the news they bring out will be valued by other forces. During this period of time, there are many cultivators coming in. We will stay here and gather these people. Those who are useful to us will stay, and those who are not will be killed. If we use these people as the vanguard, we will lose less cultivators. Xian Hua explained his idea, which was the strategy of using cannon fodder. Although Xian Hua did not care about how many of his subordinates died, he cared about whether the battle would be won or not. His subordinates were loyal, so it was better to lose other cultivators than to lose his own people. After listening to Xian Hua's idea, Xian Cheng and the brothel both nodded in admiration, because this was a good plan. The other higher-ups of the ancient ice world also agreed with Xian Hua's idea, because they could avoid unnecessary casualties. They knew about the deaths of Li Xiong and Ji Xiong, and they did not want to become the second Li Xiong or Ji Xiong. Upon discovering this situation, Night Sorrow felt that it was somewhat troublesome because if this continued, Xian Hua would gather more and more cultivators. However, Night Sorrow could not change the situation because the people of the celestial realm could not attack. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. The celestial realm could only defend and rely on the unparalleled matrix to defend. However, Night Sorrow was confident in the unparalleled Great Array. It was the highest interpretation of his Array Tao and also contained many heavenly Tao principles. Even Divine Soul Unity Realm experts would be trapped. As Xian Hua was not in a hurry to attack, the stalemate continued. Night Sorrow's main body and the 9 realms doppelganger were in the midst of cultivating. Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating his body and cultivation base while the 9 realms doppelganger was researching the 1,000 realms defensive body. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. The strength of the ancient profound ice world had increased a lot. The ancient experts who had come here had all been subdued. Of course, there were some who were not convinced. Those who were not convinced were either killed or ran away. Xian Hua and his brothers were strong, but they were not confident in killing other divine soul unity realm cultivators. Some of them who were good at speed ran away directly. After 2 years in reality, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. During these 2 years, he had been cultivating in the clear sky pagoda. His cultivation base had increased rapidly, mainly because of the mode of using strength to prove one's Tao. In addition, his current level was different from when he was cultivating the momentum of heaven and earth. #debut #to cultivate the momentum of heaven and earth, one had to be in contact with heaven and earth. To cultivate one's own momentum, one had to cultivate one's own body. After coming out of seclusion, Night Sorrow first told King Yowu and the others about the situation he had discovered. The situation is getting worse, mainly because of the unparalleled Great Array. If they can't break it, then everything will be up to Wuyo. If they can't withstand it, then we have to consider some bad consequences, King Yowu said. The unparalleled Great Array is the crystallization of my array Tao. It can't be any stronger, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, what's the situation of the 9-domain world? Regardless of the outcome of the war, the 9-domain world will accommodate all races in the future. Can you let the seedlings of the celestial realm go there? Of course, this is up to you, King Yowu said. Yes, but no matter which force or race they are, they have to obey the orders of the 9-domain commander's residence when they enter the 9-domain world. What I want is a stable 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry about that. The elders will cooperate with the 9-domain commander's residence. Those who don't listen to orders will be expelled. Those who have bad behavior will be killed, Elder Duan said. Okay, Sister Xian, you can make the arrangements. Currently, the 9-domain world has been expanding. It's almost half the size of the celestial realm. It won't be a problem to accommodate all races. As for the division of regions, you can discuss it with Deputy Commander Tai Shu, Deputy Commander Yun, and Grandpa. But remember one thing, you can't affect the development of the native cultivators of the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Okay. Lin Piaomiao nodded. With this arrangement, the races of the celestial realm won't be wiped out. What's left is a war without any worries, Lin Yuanjun said. The others nodded. They had always wanted to find a way out for their people, but it wasn't easy for them to ask. Today, King Yowu spoke for them. There are many world groups around the 9-domain world. The Chaos Realm is also a top world group. Other than the 3 great worlds, there are also the 3,000 worlds, Night Sorrow said. This is a top-tier realm. The realms we know of don't have such a scale. Hearing Yi Shang's description of the Chaos World Group, everyone present was very surprised. Yes, those heavenly general domains and so on can't compare at all. However, I've always felt that originally, the living beings in the primal chaos domain lived well. It was I who opened the passage between the primal chaos domain and the heavenly domain. If the living beings outside the primal chaos domain entered the primal chaos domain and affected their lives, then it would be my fault. Yi Shang spoke his thoughts. It's not like that. You've misunderstood. Communication between worlds is necessary. It's also the key to civilization improvement. Before you, the cultivators of various worlds also worked hard to open a channel to communicate with the outside world. This is an opportunity for development. Although cultivators from other worlds enter, they can still come out and obtain some opportunities that they can't get in this world. King Yowu corrected Night Sorrow's words. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that King Yowu was right. Although it was a disadvantage for others to enter, the people of this world could go out and see the civilization of the outside world. While they were talking, Emperor Tang came. He was mainly concerned about the Tianhuang city. Tran Hung was worried about the situation here. Elder Duan told Emperor Tang about the situation and asked him to report back to Tran Hung. Okay. Also, Tran Hung asked if the Tianhuang steel guards were needed. Emperor Tang told him what Tran Hung meant. Chapter 2287. Knight Sorrow had thought about it. In the upcoming battle, no matter what kind of battle it would be a battle between top-notch cultivators in the early stages. Ordinary soldiers would not be able to interfere. If they stepped forward, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Now, he was the commander of the battle. He had to be responsible for all the living beings in the celestial realm. After they were done with the important matters, everyone started to chat. While drinking tea, Knight Sorrow took out the poison pearl that he had obtained after killing the poison jackal and killing the poison spirit. Knight Sorrow, what are you doing? The heavenly concubine looked at Knight Sorrow. There are some things that I don't want to do, but I have to do them. Knight Sorrow sighed and said, You are the merit the arch. If you kill too fiercely, you will go against the heavens and harm your own merit. The heavenly concubine frowned and said, Perhaps. However, I am not killing for the sake of killing. I am killing to stop killing. For the sake of the celestial realm's 100 races to have a stable space to develop, I am willing to do some things. I don't care about being scolded. Right or wrong, I will leave it to the heavens to judge, Knight Sorrow said. He knew that the heavenly concubine understood his thoughts. He wanted to concoct poison. What are the two of you talking about? Knight Sorrow, you must not do anything that harms your own merit. What is that in your hand? King Yawu asked suspiciously. The heavenly concubine was very serious. Poison. It is a strange poison. I am sure that it can harm cultivators in the tribulation of 9 emperors. As for whether it can harm divine soul unity realm cultivators, I am not sure. I was poisoned the last time. If not for the fire of merit, I would have suffered greatly, Knight Sorrow said. Give it to me. I will concoct it. The Grand Elder reached out to take the poison pearl. He was willing to bear some of the blame himself. He did not want Knight Sorrow to bear it. The poison pearl came from me. The karma is with me. Let me do it. Knight Sorrow kept the poison pearl and left. Things aren't inevitable. Good and bad can be done with a single thought. What was Knight Sorrow's motive? For the sake of the living beings of the celestial realm, he sacrificed his own achievements to protect the billions of living beings in the celestial realm. This is a great kindness. As for whether it is a merit or a fault, just as Knight Sorrow said, let the heavenly axiom decide. King Yawu said. After hearing King Yawu, the others didn't say anything, but they were worried, especially King Blood Lin, because he had destroyed his virtuous body. Knight Sorrow took the spatial treasure and entered the space vortex. After thinking for a bit, he activated the poison pearl and began to absorb the poisonous energy. He then supplemented it with other materials to refine the poison. What he refined was the most diffuse poisonous smoke. Knight Sorrow was afraid of failure when he entered the chaotic streams of space. He was afraid that the poisonous gas would leak out and cause unnecessary trouble. In 2 days, Knight Sorrow refined more than 20 bottles of poisonous smoke. The energy of the poison pearl was only reduced by 1/10. Then, he returned to the real world. Seeing Knight Sorrow, King Blood Lin and the others looked very serious. They knew what was going to happen next, but they didn't know the consequences. Come on. Aren't they very excited to block the spatial passage? Let them try it first, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Then wait for them to attack. Don't use it directly. King Heavenly said. Waiting for them to attack is just a way to feel at ease. Xianhua sent spies to investigate. The war is already clear. Knight Sorrow shook his head. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the others didn't try to persuade him. They knew that Knight Sorrow had already made up his mind. If they tried to persuade him, it would only affect his mood. Everyone, be careful and prepare for the battle. If I go in now, they might retaliate strongly. It's also possible that they will directly attack. Don't be caught off guard, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Now that they are stronger, they will do things crazily. Maybe they will really attack. King Yawu nodded. Night Sorrow's words were possible. After explaining to King Yo Wu and the others, Night Sorrow entered the spatial passage. He knew that it was impossible to act secretly because Xianhua and the others' soul power had been locked on the spatial passage. Night Sorrow was still 10 meters away from the spatial passage. When he sensed with his doppelganger and felt that he would be discovered if he went any further, he took out the poison he named Wolf Smoke. Looking at the bottles of poisonous smoke in his hand, Yi Sorrow took a deep breath and then threw out 10 bottles. They were all aimed at the entrance of the spatial passageway and flew out from different angles. After flying for a distance, the bottles exploded and the poisonous smoke appeared. At that moment, Xianhua and the others realized that something was wrong. They wrapped the poisonous smoke with their energy. Naturally, they could distinguish the difference between the new energy and the original energy. After being wrapped by the energy, the poison of the wolf smoke followed the energy and invaded their bodies. Cut off the energy. You can't wrap it. Cut the void and banish the energy to the void, Xianhua shouted after cutting off the energy he released. Hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's expression changed. Cut the void? Then he was in danger of being exposed. Night Sorrow's body flashed rapidly. In an instant he was thousands of miles away. Then he entered the clear sky pagoda and shrunk it again. He didn't want to be exposed. Fortunately, his doppelganger was using the clear sky pagoda, while his main body was using the 8-dragon cauldron. The clear sky pagoda was stronger in this aspect. Xianhua and the others reacted quickly, but they still underestimated the power of the wolf smoke. The few people who used energy to wrap the wolf smoke were invaded by the energy and collapsed instantly. The others used energy attacks to cut the void and banish the wolf smoke. However, the wolf smoke spread very quickly. They couldn't completely banish it. With the impact of the energy, it spread in all directions. DL original version Upstarter 3 domain defense eroded, dead. Precept domain eroded, severely damaged. Persevering was only temporary. Or, take everyone in retreat. Xiancheng, we will monitor this place. Be careful to avoid the poisonous smoke. Xianhua didn't give the order to attack because he didn't dare. The celestial realm had already attacked, and he wasn't confident in fighting. Hor retreated with her people. Only Xianhua and Xiancheng were left at the scene. Their bodies were constantly flashing, and their sleeves were constantly shaking. Senior brother, what kind of poison is this? Why is it so overbearing? Xiancheng asked Xianhua with a gloomy expression. I don't know. I've never heard of any poison that is so overbearing. After we enter, I will kill them all. Xianhua's face was filled with murderous intent. At this moment, the area near the spatial passageway was filled with corpses. Other than the cultivators who reacted quickly enough, he had lost a lot of people this time. He had lost nearly 1/3 of his men. Shameless boasting. I will slowly play with you. After hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's main body appeared at the spatial passageway. You were the one who released the poison? Xianhua looked at Night Sorrow and roared. Chapter 2288. Although Xianhua was furious, he didn't dare to chase because he didn't know the strength of the Celestial Realm's troops. A poisonous smoke attack was enough to send the troops of the ancient ice world flying. If they had any other methods, the entire ancient ice world would be annihilated. How was it? Seeing Night Sorrow return, Lin Piaomiao and the others asked excitedly. The effect was great. I don't know if I should be happy or sad. War is too cruel. Night Sorrow shook his head. Although they had heavily injured the cultivators of the ancient ice world, it wasn't the result that Night Sorrow wanted. Did they suffer heavy losses? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. The Soul Uniting Realm cultivators weren't injured. 2 of the tribulation of the 9 emperors were injured. The rest suffered heavy losses, close to 1/3, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, how do you feel? Is there a problem? Elder Duan kept looking at Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would harm the heavens and his own merit by killing the ancient cultivators. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't feel any discomfort. His merit Dao body was still the same. Seeing Night Sorrow shake his head, Lin Piaomiao and the others felt more at ease. Everyone was worried about this. After this, the cultivators of the ancient ice world won't dare to attack. It will be a deterrent. Night Sorrow explained the situation and entered the 8-dragon cauldron to cultivate. Although there are no negative effects, he feels guilty. He killed 1/3 of them. That means he killed a lot of ancient cultivators. King Yawu sighed. Death was inevitable in war, but no one was willing to face death. Night Sorrow's original body went to cultivate. His doppelganger was still monitoring Xianhua and Xiancheng. Xianhua and Xiancheng dispersed the poisonous smoke. Then they looked at each other. The situation wasn't good for them. This was fatal. Xiancheng, go to the back and tell the brothel to back off. We can't be hurt by the poisonous smoke. Xianhua said to Xiancheng. Xiancheng nodded and left to arrange Xianhua's orders. Opportunity. Night Sorrow realized that this was an opportunity to take care of Xianhua. After coming out of the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow shouted at Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu. Let's attack. There's only Xianhua over there. The others have retreated to the back. Let's kill him first, Night Sorrow said to the others. 2 #initial Y. Then let's do it. King Yawu and the others also felt that this was an opportunity. King Yawu, Heavenly Concubine, Night Sorrow, Elder Duan, and the Patriarch of the Divine Beast clan charged towards the spatial tunnel. When Xianhua discovered it, Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine had arrived. The 3 of them used the heaven, earth, and human tripartite formation to attack together. Night Sorrow focused on defense and suppression, while King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine began to violently attack. Men! Xianhua shouted. He had asked for help. The current situation was a great crisis for him. Follow me to the front to block them, Elder Duan shouted at Lin Yuanjun, King Blood Kirin and Golden Dragon King. They were now racing against time. They had to buy time for Night Sorrow and the others to kill Xianhua. Night Sorrow released the Human Sovereign Seal. The Merit Taboo Primordial Domain suppressed Xianhua. Then, the Primordial Destruction / continuously attacked Xianhua. After 2 breaths of time, Xianhua was hit. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Sword Qi had entered his body. After being hit, Xianhua kept getting hit. The Spear Light and Sword Qi kept entering his body. Ice Seal. Melting Snow. Xianhua, who was severely injured, roared. Then, white extremely cold air emerged from his body and spread in all directions. Then, he turned into several snowy figures and fled in all directions. When Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine defeated the snowmen that were chasing after them, another snowman ran far away and collected the energy of the snowman that they had defeated. Elder Duan, let's retreat. Seeing that it was too late to chase and kill them, Night Sorrow shouted at the Grand Elder and the others who were setting up defenses in the distance. They were about to fight with Xiancheng and the brothel. When Xiancheng and the brothel brought a few cultivators from the tribulation of the 9 emperors to kill them, Night Sorrow and the others retreated to the celestial realm. Prepare for battle. After retreating to the celestial realm, Night Sorrow shouted. Then he stood guard at the entrance of the spatial tunnel and sent a clone to investigate. When Night Sorrow's original body, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine joined forces to kill Xianhua, Night Sorrow's clone did not make a move. He knew that if they could kill Xianhua, there was no need for his clone to make a move. If they couldn't kill Xianhua, his clone would be useless. The celestial realm's preparation for battle was useless. After Xianhua, Xiancheng, and the brothel met up, they did not attack. Xianhua's face was pale. He was seriously injured, but he was still holding on. Xiancheng, the brothel, you 2 take people and guard here. I need to go into seclusion. Xianhua entered the spatial treasure and began to recover. He was seriously injured, and in the end, he had consumed the ice origin energy that he had been accumulating for many years to cultivate the lost art. They won't attack. I'll observe the situation first and see if we have a second chance to attack, Night Sorrow's original body said to King Yawu and the others. King Yawu nodded. It was a pity that they didn't kill Xianhua, but it was also a good result that Xianhua was seriously injured. Xianhua's spatial treasure stood near the entrance of the spatial tunnel. Xiancheng, the brothel, and the 4 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators were camping on one side. Let's play again. Everyone, watch the situation carefully. If the battle starts, heavenly concubine, you're faster. Pay more attention to Xianhua, who comes out of the spatial treasure. Now, you guys enter my spatial treasure first and act according to the situation, Night Sorrow said to the heavenly concubine and the others. Then, Night Sorrow put King Yowu and the others into the spatial treasure and entered the spatial tunnel. They slowly approached the ancient world. When they were about to be detected, Night took out the smoke bottle and threw it between Xiancheng, the brothel, and the others. When the brothel was about to intercept it, the bottle was blasted apart by Night Sorrow's energy. Knowing the power of the smoke, the brothel and the other tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators turned around and ran. They were already frightened by the power of the smoke. The corpses on the ground were the work of the smoke. Xiancheng didn't run. He used his energy to vibrate Xianhua's spatial treasure. Xianhua was his senior brother. No matter how dangerous the situation was, he couldn't leave Xianhua behind. Vibrate your protective precept domain. Don't let the poisonous smoke get close. Let's start the battle now, Night Sorrow said. His soul power vibrated and transferred King Yowu and the others out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Then he charged toward Xiancheng. King Yowu and the heavenly concubine's target was Xianhua's spatial treasure. The Grand Elder and the others cooperated with Night Sorrow to fight Xiancheng. Don't worry about me. Use all your strength to control that guy. Don't let him run. Night Sorrow shouted at Clan Elder Duan and the others. The target of this battle wasn't Xiancheng but Xianhua. He would restrain Xiancheng while the others went all out to kill Xianhua. If they could kill Xianhua, the situation of the battle would change again. The spatial treasure exploded, and Xianhua appeared. Chapter 2289. New W. Chapter 5, Upper X. Nonsense. You are the one who deserves to die. The heavenly concubine retorted. She waved the long sword in her hand, and streaks of compassion sword chi attacked Xianhua. King Yowu's divine spear moved freely, and the spear light shot into the sky. While suppressing Xianhua, it also constantly caused damage. The Grand Elder, White Tiger King, and the others used an array to attack together, restricting Xianhua's movements. I seal. Snow melt. The situation was not good. Xianhua used his ultimate move again. I seal. Huang Ling floated back and then used the Ice Phoenix race's ultimate move. The Heavenly Astral King also used this ultimate move from another angle. Xianhua could use Ice Seal, and so could the Celestial Realm cultivators. Although their cultivation levels were different and the power of the ultimate move was different, it could still restrict Xianhua's movements. After all, it was an ultimate move that belonged to Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King's energy. Xianhua roared. His ice seal was effective, but it could not seal King Yowu and the Heavenly Concubine for long. The energy body produced by his snow melt ultimate move had to constantly break the ice energy used by Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King. It had no speed at all, so it could not escape. Overlord kill. The long spear in King Yowu's hand shot out a dark red spear light. It was his ultimate move that controlled the spear with his spirit. As the red spear light shot out, one of Xianhua's snow figures was scattered. After King Yowu caught up, his long spear vibrated and annihilated the snow figure's energy. Night Sorrow's main body gave up on Xiancheng and used the Void Step. The beginning Great Destruction Slash also blasted one of Xianhua's snow figures. Then, the Fire of Merit appeared and annihilated the snow figure's energy. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Sword Chi also hit the snow figure that had been slowed down by the Heavenly Astral King's ice energy. At this time, Xianhua still had 2 snow figures flying forward. Karmic Taboo Reincarnation Dao Domain. Night Sorrow's doppelganger appeared from the void's turbulent streams and used his Dao domain to suppress Xianhua. The bloodbath evil vanquishing spear executed the true reincarnation dragon art to attack Xianhua's snowy doppelganger. At this critical moment, if Xianhua did not stop it, Xianhua's snowy doppelganger would escape. Xianhua was only left with a snowy figure, and he had already broken through the ice seal of the 1,000 miles and began to flee. The Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd flew toward Xianhua's last energy body. King Youwu was fighting with Xiancheng. The heavenly concubine was in another direction. She couldn't make a move in time. That was all he could do. The Samsara halberd pierced through the sky and struck the last snowy figure of Xiancheng like a bolt of lightning. His physical body was annihilated, but his spiritual body was still there. The spiritual body continued to fly. Night Sorrow caught up with Xianhua. He had no time to retrieve the Samsara heavenly halberd. He used the human emperor's seal and trapped Xianhua's soul with the fire of merit. Then he attacked Xianhua's soul with the soul-destroying slash and the fist aura. I will definitely destroy all of you. Xianhua's soul ran forward with the fire of merit. At this time, the heavenly concubine also came up. The compassion sword Qi attacked Xiancheng's soul. The Grand Elder and the others surrounded Xiancheng and assisted King Youwu in attacking Xiancheng. At this time, the prostitute came with people. Night Sorrow and the others were in a difficult situation because the prostitute had brought many people with her. There were many cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Retreat! Uncle Master, retreat with your people! Night Sorrow shouted. Although they could not get the battle results, King Youwu and Sect Elder Duan retreated with their people. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine did not leave. They were still attacking Xianhua's soul. Night Sorrow would rather be trapped than kill Xianhua. The previous few snowy figures of Xianhua were easy to kill because they were external incarnations. Now, this was the spiritual body of the original body. It was very difficult to kill because it had a strong vitality. King Youwu and the others retreated. Xiancheng was free. He attacked Night Sorrow. Heavenly concubine, get ready to enter my clear sky pagoda. Night Sorrow's clone attacked and stopped Xiancheng. The original body continued to attack Xianhua's soul with soul-extinguishing slash and oscillating fist. The heavenly concubine also attacked with all her might. Rays of compassion sword Qi shot towards the virtuous fire that wrapped around Xianhua's soul. The prostitute brought her people and surrounded Xianhua. Void Step, 1,000 Realms Defense. Night Sorrow used his movement technique to dodge the attacks of the prostitute and the others. He did not stop attacking Xianhua. The heavenly concubine also spread her saint spirit wings. Her body was like an illusion. She surrounded Xianhua's soul and attacked. She understood Night Sorrow's intention. He wanted to kill Xianhua at all costs. Killing Xianhua was very important to the 100 races of the celestial realm. It was equivalent to beheading their leader. It would be a great blow to the strength and morale of the ancient profound ice world. Xiao Shi and the others unleashed saber beams at Yi Shang's true body. Endure! Since he could not dodge, Night Sorrow used the 1,000 Realms defense to endure. The astral blades of the prostitute and the others were weakened when they entered Night Sorrow's Sumeru spatial world. When they hit Night Sorrow's body, they did some damage, but it was not great. The real damage was from the prostitute's astral blades. Half an hour later, under the crazy attacks of Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine, Xianhua's soul was destroyed in half an hour. Enter my treasure! Night Sorrow shouted at the heavenly concubine. Then, he used a palm blade to tear apart space. His original body merged with his clone and brought the heavenly concubine, who had entered the clear sky pagoda, into the chaotic streams of space. You want to leave? Xiancheng and the prostitute also led their people into the chaotic streams of space. They blocked Night Sorrow's path to the spatial tunnel. They knew Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were exhausted. They could still fight. However, Night Sorrow did not fly toward the spatial tunnel. Instead, he flew in another direction at an extremely fast speed. You want to chase? Their attainments in the spatial attribute are definitely not as good as yours. There is no way to chase. Where are you flying to? The heavenly concubine did not understand. Weapon. My weapon. It's here. Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine was stunned. She remembered that Night Sorrow's samsara halberd destroyed one of Xian Hua's snowy figures and flew away. At that time, in order to kill in one blow, I used too much strength. The samsara halberd probably flew very far away. I'll just follow my senses. Night Sorrow smiled. Aren't you afraid that they will know that we are not in the celestial realm and attack? The heavenly concubine asked. So what if they go in? They will die if they go in, Night Sorrow said. He was really happy because he had killed the enemy's leader. You're right. They don't have the courage now. The heavenly concubine nodded. After flying for a distance, Night Sorrow left the chaotic streams of space and entered the ancient world. He followed his soul senses. When he found the samsara halberd, Night Sorrow smiled. An imperial monarch-level ancient cultivator was thinking of ways to pull out his samsara halberd from the ground. When he saw Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrive and could not see their cultivation, the ancient cultivator ran away. Chapter 2290. I remember. It's still vivid in my mind. Back then, I had a feeling that if I couldn't take care of you, it would be difficult in the future. That's the truth, said the heavenly concubine. I'm good at tormenting myself, but I've been tormenting myself all these years. I haven't fallen yet. Night Sorrow smiled and put the samsara halberd on his back. After putting away the weapon, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. They came out after recovering to their peak state and flew toward the spatial tunnel. They weren't afraid of a hard battle now. Xian Cheng and the brothel couldn't stop them. Xian Cheng and the brothel took their people and retreated a distance. Then, they gathered the 7 cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors to discuss the situation. Second Realm Lord, we can't defend against their poison now. The poison is too overbearing, said Qingjia. They're not as strong as us. It's just that we can't defend against the poison smoke. The 2 attacks were also because of the poison. Xianqing nodded. He was clear that they were fighting against the peak power of the celestial realm. Under such circumstances, the celestial realm would use their peak power. Then what do we do if we can't defend against the poison smoke? Asked the brothel with a frown. Poison has a flaw. It doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. Let's recover first and then kill our way in. After that, we'll fight among their people. Can they poison us? If they can't, then it's our chance, said Xianqing. The brothel and the others didn't say anything because Xianqing's words made sense. Tell everyone that this isn't just an opportunity for us high-level cultivators. It's an opportunity for them too. As long as we break through the seal, everyone will get resources. Xianqing told the higher-ups of the ancient profound ice realm again. He was worried that his people wouldn't be stable and wanted to reassure them. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrived at the spatial tunnel. They didn't see the brothel and the others. Night Sorrow's clone appeared and entered the spatial turbulence to continue being their eyes. However, his protective treasure was switched. The clone carried the 8-dragon cauldron. Because the 8-dragon cauldron's ability to suppress spatial turbulence was stronger and the clear sky pagoda's ability to assist cultivation was stronger, his main body was more suitable. Then, Night Sorrow's main body and heavenly concubine passed through the spatial tunnel. You're back safely. You're not hurt, are you? Lin Piaomiao heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing Night Sorrow's return. She, King Yawu, and the others were worried. It's fine. We just need to take care of it. This can be considered a great victory. Not only did we destroy a portion of their forces, but we also killed one of their peak experts. If they come again, we can fight them in groups, Night Sorrow said. That's right. They only have 2 divine soul uniting realm cultivators. They are at a disadvantage compared to us, King Yawu said. At present, on the heaven realm side, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were divine soul synchrony realm cultivators. The great elder was slightly weaker, but he could still restrain them. On Yi Shang's side, both his original body and doppelganger could restrain them. If they were to fight against the tribulation of the 9 emperors, Given enough time, Yi Shang could kill them. Now, let's see what they choose to do. Everyone, take a rest. My clone will be watching the spatial tunnel. If anything happens, we'll know. After that, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to recover. When Xianhua's soul was killed, Night Sorrow's clone was blocking Xiancheng. He wasn't hurt, but his main body had been hurt by the attacks of the brothel's people. There was a xenogenic air in his body that needed to be taken care of, but it wasn't serious. While Night Sorrow was recovering, he was practicing. His level was close to the tribulation of 7 emperors. If he stabilized it, he could pass the tribulation. King Youwu took out a few jars of wine. He called the Grand Elder, Heavenly Concubine, Lin Piaomiao, and the leader of the mythical beasts to sit together. This battle is the beginning of a big change, King Youwu said happily. It's a reversal of power. It's worth celebrating. Let's have a drink. Both sides started to reorganize. Xiancheng and the brothel's people were reorganizing. The races of the celestial realm didn't plan on fighting yet. Half a month later, Night Sorrow's main body came out of seclusion. They haven't attacked yet, Night Sorrow said. They must be scared of the poisonous smoke. I didn't want to use poison, but there was nothing I could do about it. Punishing one evil is like punishing 10 good. You killed a lot of ancient cultivators, but do you know how many people you saved in the celestial realm? So, don't think too much about it, King Youwu said to Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would feel pressured. Uncle, don't worry. Although I'm a little uncomfortable with some things, I can figure it out. Night Sorrow nodded. Are you planning to go through the tribulation again? Clan Elder Duan asked Night Sorrow. Everyone saw Night Sorrow's state. There's no hurry. I plan to relax a little more before going, Night Sorrow said. He felt that his state was too tense and needed to relax a little. While they were talking, the protectors of the divine capital came to report that they had caught a few spies at the blockade line. Their souls were all controlled. There were cultivators of the Demon Wing clan in their space treasures. One of them was killed, and the other escaped. We must pay attention to the defense of the blockade line and guard it well. As long as they don't know the situation of the battle, they won't dare to attack, King Youwu said to the person who came. I didn't think of these things. Uncle, you're very considerate, Night Sorrow said. You've already arranged it well. It's already very rare that no one is injured. I can't do that. King Youwu looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head. Then Lin Piaomiao told Night Sorrow that the first group of people from the celestial realm to go to the 9 regions world had been arranged. Harmony. Tell the people in the 9 regions world to arrange things properly. It must be harmonious. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and said, his 9 regions clone was cultivating the 1,000 worlds defense body in seclusion. He really didn't know about the arrangements. Don't worry, it's already arranged. The division of the regions is also in progress. Later, I'll give you the map of the regions. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Issue a martial prohibition order. For a period of time in the 9 regions world, all cities are prohibited from fighting. All forces are not allowed to fight or fight. Issue a ban order. Before the ban is lifted, all races and forces that enter the heaven realm are not allowed to go out to explore and plunder resources until the ban is lifted. Yi Chang gave 2 orders in a row. These 2 orders are good. It's stable. This way, it can be stable, King Tianxing said. The 9 regions world hasn't reached the level of a supreme world yet. It's indeed not suitable to explore and plunder resources. That's destroying one's foundation. It's better to be strict. King Youwu nodded. He supported Night Sorrow's decision. Uncle, thank you for your understanding. Now, I just want stability. I just want the 9 regions world to develop better. The external enemies are already very strong. We must be harmonious internally, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2291. I am the realm lord of the 9 regions world, and I am responsible for the billions of lives in the 9 regions world. I am the human sovereign of the 100 races in the celestial realm, and I cannot ignore the development of the 100 races in the celestial realm. I need to find a balance. When the Nine Regions world enters the Supreme World, other than the Spirit Stone mines that are not allowed, other adventures and opportunities will be allowed, Night Sorrow said. Young City Lord, don't feel pressured. We all know what kind of person you are. Tomorrow, when you kill the member of the White Tiger race, I won't even ask, because he deserved it. Some things don't need to be explained, and you don't need to explain to anyone, Lin Yuanjun said. Night Sorrow nodded. As long as we get through this, the future will be good, because we have the World Tree, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In order to prevent the Celestial Realm from being destroyed, the World Tree was left in the Celestial Realm. Actually, it is most suitable for it to be placed in the Nine Regions world, Elder Duan said. Night Sorrow thought about it, and didn't mention the sapling of the World Tree, because it wasn't necessary. It wasn't that he didn't trust anyone, but the sapling hadn't matured yet, and it wouldn't be of much use. What I am looking forward to the most is how strong the young city lord will be after he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Huang Ling looked at Night Sorrow and said, That's right. Right now, a single body can restrain a divine soul unity realm cultivator. After he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors, he will no longer be a restrain, and he won't be at a disadvantage in battle. In the future, the human race will still be the ruler of the 100 races. In terms of talent and early stages of cultivation, the mythological beasts have the greatest advantage, but the humans are still the best cultivators. It's not without reason that they're the leader of the 100 races. Only the humans can maintain the stability of the 100 races, the Golden Dragon King said. Even if one of our races is stronger than the human race, we can't seize the right to rule because when disaster comes, the human race will step forward bravely. They won't fear death and sacrifice, Blood Lin King said. How should I put it? Human cultivators and rulers pay more attention to moral cultivation. Their thoughts and decisions are more objective and comprehensive. They don't want to enslave or suppress anyone, said King Yawu. He was very happy that the patriarchs of the divine beasts had such an awareness. Lin Yuanjun looked at the Golden Dragon King and said, Yes, Golden Dragon King, you don't want to hear this. During those years, the white dragons suffered great losses. Otherwise, they would have attacked the black dragons a long time ago. I didn't think about what happened in between. In fact, under the tolerance of Tran Hung, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder, the black dragons did come over. You're not the only one who is disappointed. Fortunately, the result is good. The Golden Dragon King nodded. Young City Lord, you have a few sons. If you don't have a wife, you should pay more attention to our Ice Phoenix race. We have beauties. Huang Ling changed the topic and said with a smile. Sure, but I don't care about the children's relationships. By the way, the rules of your Ice Phoenix race may not be suitable. After marriage, the man has to do this and that, Night Sorrow said with a smile. We have changed the rules of our race, especially the marriage rule. We have learned from the human race's civilization. Marriage is free. Huang Ling told him about the changes of the Ice Phoenix race. That race is different. Those who don't choose to cultivate in the human body are still not allowed. Elder Duan thought for a while and said, This problem has been solved. We asked for the Peng technique from the young city lord. After learning from it, we have developed the same technique, the turning technique. Everyone knows the effect. I have to say, the technique that Qing Peng developed for the sake of marrying a wife is really heaven-defying. Huang Ling took out a technique book and put it away. She asked for the Peng technique from Tianyu. Of course, she said some good things. Tianyu gave it to her because of Wu Lingfei. Say it. What price? The Blood Kirin King looked at Huang Ling and asked. Yes, what price do you want? Lin Yuanjun nodded. The Ice Phoenix race wanted to change and truly integrate into the human race. They also planned to take this step. In this case, the technique was very important. After the divine beast race transformed, there were not many who chose to cultivate in the human body. Most of them kept their beast form. This was not allowed to integrate with the human race. There is no price. Come and make a copy later. In the future, think of others more generously. Huang Ling said. Thank you. The White Tiger King and the Blood Kirin King cupped their hands to Huang Ling Golden Dragon King. You don't want it. Huang Ling looked at the Golden Dragon King and asked. I want it. Let's see how it is different from the Golden Dragon King's Dragon Man technique. The Golden Dragon King said with a smile. No wonder you are not in a hurry. I thought you did not consider the other dragons. Huang Ling understood. The dragons already had a way. After staying at the spatial passage for 3 days, they completely relaxed. Night Sorrow told everyone that he was going to go through the tribulation. He needed someone to monitor the situation here. You go. Uncle Master will go outside to investigate the situation. He will not accompany you. Be careful. King Yo Wu said to Night Sorrow. You don't have to accompany me. I will send a clone to follow. If anyone causes trouble, I will not be polite. Night Sorrow was not very confident about the spatial passage. He did not plan to let anyone guard it for him. Okay, then we will wait to celebrate for you. Sect Elder Duan nodded. Lin Piaomiao went forward to help Night Sorrow tidy up his robe. I will not follow you. Go to the illusion array and call A Luo and the child. Okay, don't worry. This is actually my second tribulation of the 7 emperors. There is no danger. Night Sorrow hugged Lin Piaomiao and left. I am envious. Huang Ling, we have missed out on too much. Heavenly Astral King sighed. He and Huang Ling had a good relationship, but in the past years, because of the clan rules, they spent less time together. I won't in the future. As long as the celestial realm can survive this tribulation, I will no longer care about the Ice Phoenix clan. I will accompany you to travel. Huang Ling looked at her husband and said, Okay, I look forward to the changes after the young city lord passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. But will there be any drawbacks if you advance too quickly? Heavenly Astral King changed the topic. After all, there were other people around. They could talk about it at other times. Probably not. Every time he advances, he will go through a great battle. Moreover, he will not hold back. This is the consolidation and summary of the past. There is no flaw in his understanding of the Tao. Besides, he has come into contact with the forbidden energy too early. He must improve with all his strength. The current situation is also giving him pressure. The peak battle power of the celestial realm is still too weak. King Yo Wu shook his head. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.